keyboard.
Hello, everybody.
And then I put the muffin completely up my ass.
Oh,
I
shit.
knew you were going to do that.
I
was waiting for those eyes to go, oh, wait.
You knew he was going to do that with the muffin? I called it.
Every time. That's why I'm always like met with fear when I see him come in with the groceries and it's just an entire batch of muffins. I'm like, not all of the muffins.
Fear me.
Batch of muffins.
Entire batch of muffins up his butt. Welcome to episode 22 of the Fully Rented Podcast. And today,
from the YouTube.
Today, I am joined, of course, by the fister with the broken wrist.
The Muffin Man, apparently.
Yeah. She's not in jail today.
It's
Pulp Fiction. And the Muffin Fister.
From Minister.
Or something or other.
The Muffin Fister from another.
I'm the Mister with the Fister. It's me, Peachy Pixelate.
Fantastic. So we've got it's in terms of the length of the agenda, it's quite short, but some of the topics are rather stacked. Obviously, we just had the Game Awards occur, and there was many announcements. A couple of, I don't want to say controversies, but things to be discussed post Game Awards that
and I'd like to take this opportunity. I would have been catching up with it, but I was not present for the watch party and I forgot half of it. So this is going to be exciting.
It's going to be a
you went full Florida man. You couldn't come on the podcast.
I was present for the watch party. I was in my own chat. So typing to Brian.
yeah. So
physically present, but
I was just out of surgery.
Not quite in mind, basically.
No,
physically there, not quite in mind.
Yeah. That would have been a funny podcast, though.
Dude, especially with my because they nerve blocked my arm. I was telling the boys about my arm being nerve blocked, and it was like ragdoll physics. It was great.
Just imagine you like go pick something up and you just like smash yourself in the face with it. Like, no, I just wanted to drink.
No, like it was from the shoulder down.
Right.
So at one point, like I watched it happen in the operating room too, where my arm just rolled over, and I was like, oh no, my arm.
Right. Oh, so like in Ace Ventura, where you get shot by the dark, you just there like, oh no.
Oh no.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Oh, that would have been amazing.
It was pretty funny. It was pretty funny.
Thankfully, you are on the mend. I hope no complications since the surgery.
Yes, I can move my hand again. Woo. And I actually will be getting a hard cast on Tuesday. And then apparently I'm only supposed to have the hard cast on for 2 weeks, and then I'll have my hand. I'll be out of the cast entirely. It's fast, right?
Right. Yeah.
But I do need PT because my tendon stretched out when I fell. I posted the X-ray pics on my Twitter and Instagram. If anyone's ever interested, they're pretty horrific though.
Yeah, your husband sent them to me, and I nearly vomited in my own lap.
Oh no!
And then, like, we were chatting because he's obviously a bit stressed out. I'm like, oh, I'll just hang out with you for a bit. And then he's like, do you mind if I send you a picture of this screenshot from Dark Souls? I'm like, dude, this is the okay. I tell you what, sure, send me the Dark Souls screenshot.
Sounds like him. That sounds exactly like my husband. So I have 10 screws in my arm. I have a 3-inch plate in my wrist. If I didn't get it done, I couldn't do this anymore.
Right.
So, and what was going on was my tendons got stretched out, so they had to tighten them up. So I think they kind of it feels like they over tightened them in a way. So, which, I mean, they probably didn't. It's probably just how it works. So I'm going to have to be doing a lot of hand exercises and, stuff like that. But I can't like bend my, oh wait, never mind. I can now. I can bend my modern medicine, but that's cool though. Like only 2 more. So technically on Tuesday, only 2 more weeks of a cast, and I will be able to, use my right hand again.
That's awesome. I'm glad you're able to recover so quickly because.
Yeah.
Like obviously, especially an important limb that you use probably day to day, because I believe you're right-handed as well, right?
Dude, it's nuts. Like I was talking about it on my Instagram, like just kind of open up a little bit. It's like, dude, you don't realize how helpless you feel. Like when you lose your dominant hand. Like I know there's people who like live without one, like live with, there's like much more serious disabilities. But when you're like spontaneously disabled, when you can't use it at all, and like the amount of times like
spontaneously disabled.
no, I mean it is spontaneous.
No, it's a phrase.
Yeah.
But like I had like a box cutter like in the kitchen. Like Kevin has to cut my food for me. Like it's just it's yeah, and he sees me
so
trying to use
cute.
my right hand a lot. So you really start appreciating like what you lost when you don't have access to it. So thankfully it's only temporary. But I've gotten a lot better with my left hand.
That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
Should we jump into the Game Awards?
Yes, I'm really excited to talk about.
Oh, have you got that link? Because you said the website and I completely forgot.
I will pop it in the general chat.
Great.
There you go.
Excellent.
So we're going to go over some of the announcements. Some we'll take a deeper dive into. Others, I imagine, we'll just skip straight the fuck over because we'll just be like, yeah, whatever kind of thing. So there was like the pre-show. Then there was the actual Game Awards. And that was obviously across, what, 2.5 hours, excluding the pre-show, something like that. So it was quite a chunk of show. There's quite a lot of announcements. Normally, for me personally, when I go into the Game Awards, I usually come away with maybe like 3 or 4 like wish listed things, or at least things that I'd be like, oh, I'll keep an eye on it kind of thing. This year, I thought was actually pretty stacked. There was quite a lot that I ended up coming away with and going, oh, that's going on the wish list. And I think I got like 11 games. How did you guys feel?
I definitely didn't come away with that many.
So I'm looking through the list right now since I missed quite a few of it. I do remember Usual June and things like that. There was I remember there was Windblown. That was the one that was like happy. It reminded me like Happy Tree Friends, or I think it was, or Happy. Yeah, I think that's what it was. Like the cute little animals.
Friends,
yeah, and that's what it reminded me of.
Yeah, I can see that.
But But so far, I'm still like, I'm going to have to look at some of these trailers because I missed some of them.
Right. That's
but
fine.
There was some pretty cool stuff that was announced.
Right. So, well, let's jump into the announcements. And then for the next half of the first half, we'll talk about the Game Awards in general, let's say. So you got Brothers, A Tale of Two Sons remake was announced. This is a game I had played a very long time ago. I believe it was actually the first game I streamed. Have either of you played that?
Yeah, it is like a masterclass in how to turn mechanics into story elements.
Yeah,
I've heard of the game, but I've never played it myself.
Right. It's the same devs that made Firewatch and did they do Firewatch? No, they didn't. Sorry, they did the I've forgotten what it was bloody called. A Way Out, where you co-op. And you have
that is laughably bad.
Was it? I've heard good things from it.
I mean, I had a lot of fun playing it, but oh my god.
Brian, how about you and I? We'll prove them wrong.
We'll prove them wrong. Yeah, I've heard good things about it, and then of course they did the previous.
I do recommend that.
Did they do It Takes Two as well?
Yes,
it was the same developer.
Yeah, and the same It Takes Two. So it was almost like a co-op game, but with obviously the sticks on your controller rather than having two separate people control it, kind of thing. But it was this ambidextrous approach, for lack of a better phrase. I'm excited it's getting a remake because it will get in front of people who didn't get to appreciate the original. It's not something I'll be getting myself, though. I imagine probably the same for you too.
I'm gonna check it out. Actually,
it's been a long time.
It looks like I'm a sucker for co-op games. I have a lot of fun with them.
Right.
And it's kind of like I did play It Takes Two, with my husband when we first started dating, and it was such a great experience. So I love. I'm excited to check this one because I've heard about it a long time ago, back in 2013.
Just bear in mind,
I never played it.
This one isn't actually co-op itself unless they somehow do it in the remake. You just
it says right here in the Polygon article that it's co-op.
Weird.
Oh, single player co-op. Yeah.
Okay.
You'll be able to play it both.
Yeah, it's technically because you just have one thumbstick per person, essentially, kind of thing. But we'll see. Either way.
But if that's the case, that's how they set it up. Then I'll still check it out.
Yeah, that's fine.
I mean, there's no reason in not letting you co-op that, right?
Yeah.
It would make sense for them to co-op it. If it's not, and I'm mistaken, which is very likely. I think it would be a great opportunity to be
watching the trailer. I was like, I don't remember any of this, so I think I do need to play it again.
That's fair.
Like, I'm trying to think. Not going to say anything because there's a new one coming out. But I'm trying to think of what happened, and I can remember the thing, but I can't like I can't really recall stuff that happened.
Right. Yeah, I can remember the vast majority. It was a relatively short story, if I remember rightly. It was like 8 hours
I
tops.
think I heard. I think what I mainly heard about, I didn't know much about the gameplay. I didn't know it was 2 sticks, but the story was really good.
Yes, it's known for being quite evocative.
But the mechanics lead into it. It's
It's one of those games you have to play to understand, kind of thing, in a way.
And you can't really talk about it without spoiling it. So
yeah, of course,
no.
of course.
Yeah, no spoilers, please.
So the next thing they announced was the Pony Island 2 Panda Circus by the same devs as Inscription.
I loved Inscription.
Pony Island 1.
So I've played Inscription.
Have either of you played Inscription? Oh, you have?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've played Inscription. I've not played Pony Island 1.
Pony Island is fucking awesome.
Is it? Did you play Inscription, Peachy?
I don't think so.
I feel like you'd know if you had.
Yeah.
It's
such a cool experience. Like for a card battle game or card game.
Oh, like right. No, I haven't played that.
Yeah.
Thing is, it's a card battle, but
it's a card battle game. I love it though.
It's a game that Peachy should absolutely check out, 100%.
I think Peachy would kind of dig it, to be honest.
I like Pony Island because it is batshit insane.
Yeah, it's gonna be his vibe. Then there was the Rise of the Golden Idol. I do not remember anything about that, so it couldn't have really stuck with me. Do either of you remember anything about it?
I'm gonna quickly watch the trailer.
To follow up the detective series Curse of the Golden Idol. So it's a detective game.
Oh yeah, this is the one with the cool art style. It looks a bit like Arcane.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know what that style is called because it's not like
Arcane. Why am I blanking?
It's not cell shaded.
Arcane
TV show.
Arcane TV
God,
show. But it also matches
it.
with Arcane Studios art style back in Dishonored, I suppose.
Okay. I was thinking Arcane Studios for a second. I was like, how?
Especially when they do their non-3D cinematography stuff in Redfall. They do lots of painting style things. So it's kind of
Redfall, is that good? Should I pick that up?
It's amazing, mate. Best game ever.
Okay. Well, so it's that it's that, and I got to pick up Anthem as well.
I thought, dude, that was a game of the year contender without a doubt.
100%. There was Usual June.
This reminded me of Stranger Things.
I think that's what it was.
Cynically reminded me of of that.
Wasn't it by the same people?
Was it?
I feel like there was
Stranger Things, the TV show.
Sorry, no, I'm thinking of a Life is Strange. Isn't it the same folks that did Life is Strange and whatnot?
Oh yeah.
Wait, you might be right. If it's Don't Nod, let me double check really fast because it doesn't show.
Because I swear there's been a Don't Nod.
No, it's Stingy.
Life is Strange is
Let's see.
Ubisoft, isn't
it? Did they do Tunic? It looks like they did Tunic too.
Tunic's supposed to be really good, to be fair.
Yeah, Tunic, but they published it, they didn't develop it.
Right.
No, but it looks like a cross between Life is Strange and Stranger Things.
Right.
Oh, it was Squeenix for Life is Strange.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, no, that's also Don't Nod though. Squeenix just
publish it.
Just published it because
she sneezed. How dare she?
I had to sneeze.
It's cool.
You didn't hear me?
Oh no! Do you automatically try and do it with the wrong hand? Like, I'm gonna sneeze. Ah!
I do the vampire sneeze. Like you sneeze into your elbow.
The vampire sneeze?
That's what I always call it.
Please elaborate.
Yeah, explain.
It's like the vampire's cape. You go like that.
Oh, okay. All right.
You never heard that thing?
I've never heard it.
Growing up, because I was raised that sneezing in your hands is unsanitary because unless you wash your hands right after. So if you do it in your elbow, my elbow or
it's a lot more difficult to wash than your hands.
Yeah, but you're not going to usually if you're in the middle of cooking or talking with someone and you don't have a chance to go walk away, it's easier to just go like that.
Yeah.
Or I sneeze in my shirt.
I've never heard.
I just sneeze out into the ether.
That's what I always call it. That's what I always called it. Was the vampire sneeze.
I like it. I might adopt that.
You also know if you look at the ceiling and say fish, you won't sneeze. You guys say it
I never don't want to sneeze. I never if I'm about to sneeze and I lose it, that is the worst feeling ever. If I'm gonna sneeze, I want that sneeze.
I want it out.
You want it out. An orgasm. Which is apparently how much a sneeze is. There you go.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I when I have to sneeze, I can't wait to sneeze. It's like, just get it out of me.
Imagine if you have a sneezing fit and you're just like, oh, there's 8 in a row. Oh my god.
Oh
Mop
God,
aisle
yeah.
3.
There's a couple of streams I've had recently where like Kevin had one of those sneeze attacks where it took him a while. It's like, are you done?
But he had a great time.
Oh, he had a great time. I'm sure.
There's the Harmonium game, the musical one where it's about sign language and whatnot.
Yeah, that looked really cool, but I'm not interested in playing it. Does that make sense?
100%. I thought, oh, that's going to be really sweet for those who are going to be particularly appreciative of it. I am not going to be one of those people though, so.
And it also might educate people who aren't as well.
True.
Oh, was this the one with the was it like ASL?
Yes.
Was it sign language? Oh,
It
yeah.
was sign language, yeah.
So I do remember a couple of things. And I do remember seeing that. I couldn't remember the name. I thought it was kind of neat.
I thought
It does look kind of neat. The delivery
I
was really
check it
nice.
out.
That's fair.
I never had the opportunity like to really need ASL, so it always seemed like the fun. You know, I'm always open. It looks cute too.
Just speak louder. Just speak. It's the same if someone speaks a different language. You just speak louder, and then
you just suddenly understand. That's how it works.
Yeah, that's how it works.
Yeah, the next one I think we have pretty much all shown interest in.
This one looks so cool, dude.
Windblown,
It looks so cute.
So Windblown is made by the same folks that did Dead Cells, which is obviously
I still have yet to play Dead Cells, but I was right before I broke my arm. I was playing The Last Faith, which was because there's a lot of the Metroidvanias. And so
Dead Cells is a particular standout in that genre.
Yeah. I've heard nothing but good things, and I think I know they had the Castlevania DLC come out. It's quite a bit. I was surprised, but this looked so precious.
Well, I remember when the trailer first started, and I was like, "Oh, it's a fairy game," and then I was like, "Oh, Dead Cells." Oh, and then they showed like the gameplay, and I was like, "Okay, I'm in."
Is this like,
Yeah, there was a lot of movement.
you know
in
what
that
it
combat.
kind of
looked
reminds me
interesting.
of is Bastion, like how the from the isometric look. I don't know why. A little bit.
Yeah.
Not the art style, but kind of no, Bastion kind of like builds this thing. Never mind, I take that back. I'm a liar.
It will be interesting to see how they progress over from because they nailed 2D combat. In Dead Cells, it is actually a standout. If you like those kind of games, it is definitely the one to play.
Yeah,
it would be nice to see how they do for that third person sort of isometric.
Is it supposed to be co-op? Because from the trailer, it kind of looks like there might be.
There was 3 people.
Yeah.
So
fighting,
it's
right?
a roguelite with co-op.
I love that.
It's pretty cool. I'm very much looking forward to it.
It's a roguelite with co-op and furries.
And fairies, yeah. But from what we saw of the combat, it looks like they got it pretty much nailed. Like it looks like it's going to be pretty impactful and feel good.
The thing is, with games like that, it's all about the feel. So it's really hard to tell off a trailer, I think.
For Thumper?
Yes and no. So I would say
Windblown.
For Windblown. Sorry.
Windblown. Sorry, I thought we skipped ahead.
No. So I think it looks good because a lot of the feel is based on like the animations and what would be sounds. And obviously, I don't want to play the sound now, but having the sounds land at the right time, things like that. Things that tend to make it feel horrible is like being locked in place and such, and it doesn't look like there's a lot of that from what we can see. It's very highly mobile. Looks like it's really fast paced. So I'm quite confident that it's going to feel really, really good based on what
I would imagine they
do no combat. It's just they're moving to a new dimension, if you will. So
yeah,
be interesting to see how they transition.
I think the game has potential to be very charming.
Oh yeah, for sure, especially with that art style.
Yeah,
and they may take it to an extended universe for all we know, depending on how popular it is.
So maybe everything's connected. Maybe the furries and
Let's wait till they release the one game, yeah, guys.
The one
Okay.
game. You mean Fortnite? That is the one game to rule them all. Then there was the
Like Demolition Man, isn't it?
Yes.
Like they won the franchise wars, and the only game is Fortnite now.
Yeah. That is exactly what they are intending. You can so tell. They like Tim Sweeney's already like, oh, we succeeded with the metaverse where everyone else quit. It's like, kind of. But VR chat also exists. But anyway, so as Pulp mentioned earlier, there's Thrasher, the new game by the Thumper devs.
Is it Thrasher?
Yes.
Oh yeah, I said Thumper.
Yeah,
because I read that one.
Previous game.
Yeah.
You're thumping and thrashing.
So
what was it you said when we were live? They really enjoy the TH words. So
yeah,
did I say that?
Third game.
Oh no, you said that. You said that. I don't remember that.
Fucking.
get out. You twat. As if you just said that. For those who missed it.
I would absolutely play that game.
For those
though.
who missed it. Peachy
I would
just
be
said,
so
what would
good
the
at
third
the
game be
third
called?
game.
And then he said thucking. Because he's
No.
a sucker.
I said thotting.
Did you say
Because he's
thucking?
cheeky
I thought
like
you said
that.
thucking. Silly goose.
There's a way better joke. Thank you
Oh,
very
you
much.
think some dude in
Subscribe.
charge of naming has a lisp? Is that what you're trying to say?
He might do. What are we thinking
He's just
to?
picking words that he can say.
What are we thinking of Thrasher then? Do we care much or?
I wasn't
I'm not
that.
super crazy. I'm not super
thrilled.
crazy about rhythm games. In general, they're fun, but
Yeah. We'll move on then. So the next announcement was actually a DLC for Dave the Diver, which was a Dredge crossover.
this is such a smart DLC, dude.
Yeah,
Like this collab.
I think that's a really cool collab. There's World
Especially
of
striking
Goo.
while the iron's hot for both
You
games.
ruined Dave the Diver for me, so now I no longer care.
How have I ruined David? Oh,
By telling me who
Oh
made
yeah,
it.
you did ruin Dave the
okay,
Diver for
yeah.
everyone,
yeah, I'm sorry.
Brian.
Apologies.
Just ruined it.
They're actually making like a few good games at the moment, and it
We're not
Oh,
allowed
don't you
to like
hate
Dave
it
the
when-
Diver.
Like the worst person does good shit.
yeah.
I know.
I hate that.
He kind of set us up for like you can't like it now. Because otherwise you were
can
terrible.
like it, you just can't call it indie, basically. World of Goo 2. I actually thought that looked pretty cool. Apparently, World of Goo is like
looks
20 years old.
Yeah, it's pretty. It's wow retro.
I was surprised by that one. It looks good. I like it.
Gonna be keeping an eye on it. I don't remember this trailer. Metaphor or Fantario?
I don't know anything about this one.
Words. I'm gonna go over it because skip over it because I do not recall it
Oh
at
yeah,
all.
it was that. It was that anime.
Oh, Metaphor. Yeah, wait. I remembered this one. This was the one by Atlas or the team behind
Persona
Persona.
people.
Yeah, so
It just the trailer shows the thumbnail of a little animal, so I got a little confused for a second.
yeah, same.
This game actually looks really sick, to be honest. Like I'm in the minority. I'm not like super crazy about Persona 5, but the game itself is well made, incredibly well made. It's not my favorite of the series. So I like that the team behind that is getting an opportunity to kind of like do something that like they're interested in than being stuck within like working on the same franchise and outside of Shin Megami Tensei. So I'm actually
Persona 21. I wanted to do a new game.
really
Yeah, right. Yeah. Although having said that,
it
it
looks
does
sick.
kind of look like Persona, but with
It does.
fantasy elements, kind of thing.
It's clearly on the same engine as well, which makes sense. But it's,
yeah, I mean it's the
it-
same engine, but it looks like they're trying to like the team behind Persona is taking the opportunity to try something like that's more unique because
they want to do a new
know-
story, don't they?
Yeah,
they're
they're
not
doing a
locked
new
into
story.
how Persona does its shit.
I'm pretty sure they're really tired of doing Persona 5 games too because there's so many of them.
Right, yeah. There's just so many of Persona 5.
I
at this
recently
point.
tried the tactics game.
Persona
I was just
5
I honest to
Revengeance.
God could not be asked to play it. And I love tactics games. Was not interested in that one.
Yeah,
I got bored. It's too dense
that's fair.
Like,
That's fair.
dialogue wise.
I
but,
personally won't be bothered about the Atlas game, but Paul, obviously you're sounding like you're going to be checking out and playing it when it eventually comes out.
I'm gonna check it out because I do like what they've done. I like the Persona games. I just whenever they come out with like a new one, like they did it with Persona, they did it with all of them. I think where they came out with a second version where it's extended. It's like I'm not playing another 100 hours
Right,
of the same shit because the mystery element's always the most enticing bit. Now it's not a mystery anymore for me.
Yeah.
So, but I want to see what they do with something new that's not Persona.
That's fair. That's
So I'm gonna check it out.
the next.
Hopefully they don't have the same streaming restrictions.
Yeah, I mentioned that during the stream how Atlas are really weird about that. The next was 8 minutes of Matthew McConaughey talking about the Interstellar game, basically. So
All right.
yeah,
He did that on stage, and I'm like, is that cringe or is that based? I can't decide.
No, it's based.
yeah.
It's based.
And then he did the pew pew pew, but I feel like he did it really like slow, where he was like pew pew, like he was trying to be relevant to
been, dude,
gamers.
Brian, he might have been high.
Or high as fuck.
It's Matthew McConaughey.
He was absolutely high as fuck.
Yeah, I remember watching the trailer going, oh, it's Interstellar the game. That's why they got McConaughey to come on and be like, oh, look, it's relevant.
Well, he's like, isn't he funding it?
I don't know. Either way, it was very Interstellar-esque.
Is he?
There's a new studio in Austin, so maybe he's got some
from
fingers
X.
in that pie.
Oh, it's an RPG from ex BioWare devs. Then I definitely really want to check that out.
It looked very Mass Effect, so I'm like, ooh. But then, like, when you advertise your game with it's Matthew McConaughey, I'm like, oh, you're just gonna do their thing. Hopefully, it's not a walking simulator because the visuals look really cool.
Mm.
Oh,
And the mocap on the faces and the acting was pretty fucking cool.
Dude, mocap's come such a long way. It's crazy.
Yeah.
We still have run the risk of Uncanny Valley, but man, it's so crazy how much better we've gotten at it.
Yeah, it's getting kind of scary in a lot of ways when you really
No, it's
think about
terrifying
it.
for sure.
Yeah, it's a cool technology nonetheless.
You say that, but do you remember Heavy Rain? No, not Heavy Rain.
Oh my
What's
god,
one
do you
with the
remember
cop?
the? Oh no,
The police, you have to try and guess if they were lying or shit. Because I had really good mocap. And I was
LA Noir.
Fuck.
LA Noir.
Yeah, that's it. And
That
the mocap was
excellent.
It was, well, I watched it and I was like, fuck me, that's incredible what they've done. If you look at it now, it's like, oh.
No, if you still go back and look at it, like they have the most realistic facial movements. So
at the
like,
time, they were far and away, and it took years for games to catch up. But now it's like, oh.
For such an old game, because that was on the 360 and PS3. Like that was
It's so old you can run it in VR now.
But I watched. I downloaded it.
Chili
I did pick it up again for like Steam after watching it. Like because the meme was going around, like the Exit Out. And yeah, and like I was getting like a bunch of memes for some like compilations from LA Noir recommended.
It's pretty good. And
I haven't gotten around to playing. I'm not really a big Rockstar fan. Like I don't know what it is about like the way the games play. It just doesn't click for me. And I've given a lot of their games a chance. I don't know. Maybe I'm too stupid. But
no, it's very obvious. It's like, are they lying? And you're trying to guess, and the character's going.
Yeah, no, it's neat. So.
Because you have to do it like that. Like, there's no way to subtly do it. Because, like, good liars, you can't tell when they're lying. That's that's why they're good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be keeping an eye out on what was it called?
Exodus.
Yeah, because it looked pretty.
I think it looks great so far.
I'm just concerned that they're star fucking basically. Like, look, we got Matthew McConaughey, and then all the budget's blown on him.
They probably are.
Cool.
But if he's got something to do with the studio, that might not be a problem.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. Like, I don't remember much.
Yeah, but it's
he's doing the voice.
It's a new studio in Austin.
Yeah, I could have sworn he said he was funding it, but I'm honestly, I was on drugs.
So was Matthew McConaughey. Don't worry about it.
Literally, guys, I was.
Brian is live researching this right now because
awards. It just mentions him doing the voice, from what I can see.
Archetype Entertainment.
Is that his character?
That's terrible character name.
Yes, it looks like he's just doing the voice from what I can tell. The next announcement is Game of War? God of War.
God of War.
Ragnarok.
This one made me so happy and so sad at the same time, and for just this pretty obvious reason that I can't play it right now.
Right.
But I did download it.
Well, that's the thing. It's free as well.
It's free. It was like their way of saying thank you.
I've heard it's actually like really good. There are some story elements, and it's not just like beat 'em up simulator or anything like that. So if you haven't checked it out already, people listening and watching at home,
absolutely,
definitely go give it a ganders.
And Ragnarok itself is just such a fantastic game. So it's actually really cool of them to just like, here you go.
For free.
You're welcome.
That is dope.
It was really dope of them to do that.
They must have sold a lot.
Good guy, Santa Monica Studios.
Yeah, I reckon that it's just brand value, isn't it? It's like, oh look, we did this really sick
A lot of companies don't give a shit about that though, so it's really nice to see.
especially from a bigger company.
Did Santa Monica Studio work on the original trilogy, or was it just these two that they worked on?
Oh, I don't know.
I believe they were at the very least involved in it. Like Cory Barlog, I think, did the second game in the original trilogy, and obviously he then came back for the first one. In
I only asked because obviously, I mean, it's pretty clear like these games don't feel anything like the original, and not just on the gameplay aspect, but like just how much care and affection they seem to show, you know, the just the process, and even like having the character of Atreus growing up with the game too. So they have the same kid aging while the game like has been going on. So it just seems like they've like the amount of respect they're showing the IP and for the game, the players of it. Seems, that's why I was wondering, is it the same studio, like, or is it them like being like, hey, I don't know, good guy, Santa Monica Studio.
Yeah,
to be fair,
to be honest, where it's their IP altogether.
Oh yeah, that's ostensibly okay. Just questions.
The next one is something. It's something.
Big Walk.
So,
Big Walk.
It's from sorry, go on.
It looks so cute and also batshit, and I'm kind of there. I'm kind of there with Big Walk.
Peachy, just take some shrooms and go and play it. You'll have so much fun.
Yeah, I was watching the trailer.
They're selling you they're selling you a shroom trip.
Yeah, pretty much. I just remember watching it and be like, nah.
That was nothing like any shroom trip I've had. I'm gonna be honest.
No, not for me. No, we're not gonna talk about that.
Allegedly.
My lawyer has just texted me to shut up.
I'm from doing this.
We're playing characters on this podcast. There we go.
Yes.
Oh,
yeah,
there you go. These are, but it looks very cute. Like I kind of love it. I didn't play through get far in Untitled Goose Game because I didn't know it was a stealth game.
I've only watched it on Twitch.
I have it. I should play it on Twitch because it's such a goofy, fun game.
Watch Soviet Womble play it. It's hilarious.
That was quite
it's great. But this looks so charming. I don't know what it reminds me of. Kinect, like the Kinects or those toys.
Right.
For some reason, like the way they're put together. I don't know why.
The animation is like weird.
It's very odd.
Like it's very contrasting with these player models that basically look like they were drawn in paint, and then you've got these realistic environments, and you're like, eh?
It's like they got their children
Why?
to like draw your own characters.
It looks like the Sonic game where they put Sonic in just an Unreal 5 stock map.
Yeah, I remember seeing it though and being like, nah, not for me personally. It sounds like
I'm kind of interested, but I'm not like, oh, I will get this the second it's released. I'll probably end up playing it.
No, I'm not gonna keep too close of an eye on it, but I am going to if it like sounds awful when I say it out loud, but like if I saw it on like a Steam sale, I'd pick it up. Or if I heard really good things about it, I might check.
It's called sandwich gaming. When a game becomes the price of a sandwich, you're like, yeah, okay, I'll try.
See, I've never heard that before, so I'm gonna take that.
Okay, Vampire Sneeze.
It's a good trade-off. Thank you. Sandwich gaming for your Vampire Sneeze.
We're trading weird sayings.
You've made an exchange. But the next announcement was basically the trailer for the new Prince of Persia game. We're already familiar with that. It still looks like it's going to be good. Hopefully it is good.
It's supposed to be like kind of like a Metroidvania, right? Like it's more back to the old
more like the
I was really
ones,
stoked on that.
Yeah, first of all, fuck Ubisoft, but that looked great.
Yeah.
It did.
Probably,
I agree. Fuck Ubisoft.
Yeah, it's probably one of the few projects coming out of Ubisoft that isn't on fire at the moment, to be honest. So good job to that particular studio. Then there was the trailer for Hellblade.
So good.
Senua's Saga.
This looks so good. Did you guys play the original?
Yes. It was a sandwich game for me.
Fair. I don't even remember how I stumbled on it, and I loved it. This game looks so good. I'm so glad they're taking their time too.
100%. I mean, it
Look at the
looks
visual clarity. They have to.
They have to,
Yeah,
right?
It's true. It's true.
Like we
They're
were talking about
crafting
mocap
this
coming
thing.
a long way. This game's mocap is just beyond impressive.
Yeah, it's gonna be pretty.
It's gonna have
insane.
more budget behind it as well.
Oh yeah, because it's not an indie game anymore.
True. Hopefully, it will be able to meet up to the hype.
Yeah,
Especially,
I have high hopes for this one. I really loved it. The combat was super fun, I thought.
I thought the
The
combat was
combat
alright.
felt serviceable. I didn't think it was bad or anything. It was
Well,
serviceable.
you're not really playing it for it, but for what it was, I enjoyed it.
Yeah,
Hmm.
it was good enough action combat.
They
Except
didn't
that I
cheap
felt like I
out on the
wasn't-
combat because they wanted to say something and they said it really well. And they
Yeah.
didn't cheap out on the combat. They did make proper combat. But
Yeah.
you wouldn't, play Hellblade. It's got the best combat. You wouldn't be saying that.
No.
It's the whole
But
experience.
for what the game was, because it was more about, yeah, you're right. The game was more about the message than the gameplay. It's more about, but there was pretty good, except that she couldn't go up a small ledge. I remember being upset about that.
It won't be the first game and it won't be the last.
Yeah, no, it won't be the last. You're right. It was just so, but I mean, you're not really complaining. You're not looking for that kind of, in this kind of experience, it's like, whatever.
Sandwich game.
It's a sandwich game.
I was very pleased when I eventually played Hellblade because everyone was playing it. I'm like, And then price of a sandwich. Yeah, okay, I'll try it. And I was like, oh, this is good. I really enjoyed that. And I don't give a shit about story games. I just don't. I don't care about that, but I did really enjoy myself.
That's fine. Well,
Yeah.
fingers crossed it'll be good. And the next one is Kamuri, and it's from the same person who was involved with Tokyo Ghostwire, then came off the project. I don't know how or why. It was shortly after she appeared at the Game Awards.
And everyone loved her.
Yeah, and then they got rid of her, and I'm like,
was it ego?
I don't know. I like, especially was it being like Japanese as well? I do feel like there was some kind of weird Japanese corporate bullshit where they're like, no, you were too happy and weird and embarrassed us or whatever, and they got rid of her. But even though everyone liked her,
Always say, oh, everyone loves you, and they shouldn't, because she should be a faceless dev.
yeah. Either way, she's got her own studio now, and she's making a game that looks kind of similar in a few ways, but
Kind of.
It definitely looks better, and it doesn't have a publisher, so it was basically a giant advert for her to be on the Game Awards and be like, by the way, if you want to be a publisher of our game, look how pretty it is and how bouncy and lovely I am. She took a kid there as well.
Everyone loved her when she was on, like, was it the Game Awards last?
I can't remember if it was last year or the year before. I think it was the year
I
before.
remember.
But
Yeah, it
she
might have
was
been.
all like bouncy and happy and like happy-go-lucky.
Everyone was like, she's adorable. Can we keep her?
yeah,
And then whatever company went, no.
and yeah, for some reason she wasn't on it.
And Ghost Thing came out lacking something.
And I bet
So
it was
I'm not
because the lack
saying
of
that
her.
she would have made it better by being there, but she wasn't there and it was lacking something.
She would have been a cheerleader for Ghostwire.
It'll be interesting to see what happens with this game and how well it's received to probably give us a bit of a more insight of what happened with Ghostwire Tokyo. And it's like, oh, you suddenly got rid of this director and brought in a new one. Could this be why Ghostwire Tokyo ended up being quite boring?
Mm.
Yeah. So we'll see how this one goes. I think it looked really, really cool. I like the art style.
Yeah, they're using that ghost myths that Ghostwire was using. So she
feels
like the
more
creative
like-
lead as well.
There's a lot of stylization in Ghostwire, but this one feels more stylized in a good way. Like I like it.
It definitely looks
stand
very,
out
very
way-
cool.
Mm-hmm.
The
Ooh.
next one on the list is the one I'm actually quite stoked about. So No Rest for the Wicked. I think this looks sick, and it's by the folks who make the Ori game.
Was this the one that? Oh wait, I have to. Do you have the trailer pulled up?
Yeah, it's just on screen now. So No
Okay.
Rest for the Wicked. I think this looks sick. The art style looks amazing. It's got like a somewhat isometric view to it. And it's by the folks who did Ori, and the Ori games were quite fun. It's obviously not going to be a platformer, or at least not a like 2D platformer. But,
Right.
What did you guys think, if you recall it at all? Well,
That's why I'm asking to see it, because I remember there was a game that at first second I thought this was the one where it reminded me a lot of oh god, and just like a Souls like. Maybe I'm wrong about this one.
yeah, so The art style I was particularly interested by because it's got like
it's very cool.
Yeah, it's this painted
Yeah.
kind of aesthetic. Obviously, all the character designs and stuff look very, very dark, and for lack of a better comparison, almost Souls-like in the terms of like the character design and whatnot. But yeah, I'm very much looking forward to this one. How about you two?
Yeah, no, from what I'm watching, like I don't think I remember this one because Neo was the game I was thinking of, by the way.
Right.
But I don't think this was the one that I was remembering, but it looks beautiful.
It looks cool.
I picked up Ori. I have not played either of them. I picked them up when they go sandwich game, when they were on sale. I never seen any gameplay. I just saw I was like, oh, that looks cute.
Don't play it on a controller. Sorry, not controller, on mouse and keyboard, which is what I did with the first game as a
for
challenge.
games like that, I don't play on mouse and keyboard. I play a lot of Metroidvania side scroller shit and just games and platformers. I can't play them on keyboard. It's impossible for me. That's when a controller is necessary.
Yeah, I did it as a challenge.
Why are you laughing, Peachy?
I think he's just reading his chat, to be fair.
Hope can't stop saying sandwich game now.
It's become part of her vernacular.
I said it really one time, and all of a sudden I can't stop saying it.
This is Twitch chat.
It is true. So the next announcement was kind of a surprise. It was a bit of a long-winded trailer, but it was cool. It was
worst trailer. It was bad. It sucked.
It was the whole fake gamers do gamer acting, and it's just like, no, just show off the games kind of thing. But once they announced the actual announcement, which was the return of Jet Set Radio, Shinobi, Golden Axe, Streets of Rage, and Crazy Taxi, I think a lot of us were like, oh, go on.
Literally excited for every single one of those, even the Shinobi Metroidvania. Very drawn styles, I think that's a good way to go because they did third-person Shinobi games, didn't they? And I didn't really vibe with those. I know they were quite difficult games, but I just didn't vibe with it. I don't know why.
I know of Shinobi. I don't think I know even what kind of gameplay it is. I know I've heard
Sega Genesis. Sorry, America. Sega Genesis games.
Oh, I wasn't really much of a Sega kid growing up.
Yeah, so
they looked cool. They all looked cool.
They all looked
but
modern,
the trailer was
clean.
cringe.
Yeah, they did the whole we're gonna get some actors to pretend to be gamers and stuff like that, and it's just just get actual gamers if you.
I think AI wrote the script as well because it was just terrible. It was just a bad trailer. Then they showed the games. I'm like, oh
shit, cool announcement.
Just show those. We don't need that other stuff. How much does that other stuff cost? You could have saved some money.
Exactly. Yeah. The next announcement was Dragon Ball Sparking Zero.
Woo! Dragon Ball!
Or Sparkling, I feel like was what Peachy kept saying. He was like, Sparkling! It's like, not quite, mate, not quite.
Only if it's from the Dragon Z region of France. Otherwise, it's just Sparkling Zero.
That's fair. I got that joke. I want to know if anyone else got that joke. I understood what you were saying.
I'm not here to appease the masses. Just I want to entertain Brian. That's it.
And it's a good dynamic. I like it. The next one was the spin-off from Dead by Daylight. The casting of Frank Stone.
I don't know what it is. I think I put this on my I know I put this on my wish list, but I saw that Supermassive is working on it, so I'm interested because they usually do pretty good with these story, because it's a new game entirely. It's just set in the Dead by Daylight
single player game as well.
Yeah,
and there were 4 characters. I am so confused after
if they have it's Supermassive, which they did all that Until Dawn and all that, so multiple characters. So I'm not surprised. I think that kind of gameplay might work for this. But it looks really cool because I do like Dead by Daylight. I just don't play. Sorry, I'm screwing with my arm a lot.
Oh, good.
The Dead by Daylight gets horror. I'm not too into the gameplay, but it gets horror.
No, I'm not really. 4v1's not my fave. And from what I understand, the Dead by Daylight community can be pretty toxic. So kind of always naturally kept my distance from it. But I do like the character designs, the way they've approached horror. And when I have played, I've always played private games and I've had fun.
I have a question.
So
Who the fuck is Frank Stone?
That's what I asked. I went after I saw this trailer. I googled who the fuck is Frank Stone.
When Dead by Daylight started, it didn't have brand deals.
I think it's a new character.
It's a new scary character.
It's a new boy.
Right.
Maybe they'll do. Maybe this guy will be featured in their next dating sim.
Right. See. Yeah, because I was like, oh, is this an OG character is this another cameo? That's why I was so perplexed by it.
Yeah, I had to look it into it because like I said, I played a little bit of DVD. Not super familiar with like all the characters within it. It's just the same. Just like doesn't appeal to me. But I didn't recognize the name. But I guess it's a brand new villain. They create some really interesting villains.
Right.
So
just to interrupt, sorry, if you can hear fireworks, it's because there's noise going on in the background. Apologies.
Are you setting off fireworks in your house, Brian?
Yes, I am. I show
Inside
speed.
the house.
Is it your sparkling?
Sparkling. No.
Sparkling.
Unfortunately not. No, it's just between the months of November and December, the entirety of that like calendar is just fireworks every day because you've got a UK celebration at the beginning of November called Bonfire Night or Guy Fawkes Night, where we celebrate a terrorist failing to blow up Parliament by burning him alive, basically.
Oh.
And then you've got obviously quite a multicultural country, so you've got like the various other cultures in the middle, and then you've got New Year's, so it's just fireworks every night here in the UK for like 2 months.
It's fun. I have neighbors who set up fireworks and shoot guns nearby, so it's fun. America.
That's definitely different to what I was talking about. Fireworks, guns. But yeah,
That's how Americans measure guns. They won't use metric, Brian.
that's true.
No, that's how it's one. This one guy, I haven't heard it in a while, but he would get drunk and just, I guess he would shoot something in the backyard. That was his thing.
I wonder why you haven't heard from him in a while. What could have happened?
The ricochet.
There? Oh,
The ricochet got him.
But yeah, the next one was a new Mana game, Visions of Mana.
Yeah.
Do any of you play Mana?
Bro, it's mana.
I played some of them.
Pronounces it behave.
Devs are stupid and lazy. Where the fuck is my
Continue,
Space
Paul.
Marine 2?
Ignore.
Is it
ignore the
Mana?
pedestrian.
I played some of the Mana games. I was really more into it when I was younger. I haven't really played one in a while. I think when Legend of Mana came out, I played that because it's like, oh, I played the first one, or I played it on PS1, so I wanted to play through it again.
Right.
But it looked cute. It looked good. I honestly could not tell you the story of the Mana games.
Same. I haven't played any
I
of them.
actually played through the Secret of Mana fairly recently because they did like a remaster.
Yeah, they did the remake. Yeah, or remaster.
Remake, a bit of both.
It's kind of both, yeah.
And yeah, it's still good. I'm excited, but it's Squeenix, so they could fuck it up. They have the ability to.
They're
fuck
pretty
it
good
up.
at doing that. I think the next one was the one I was thinking of. By the way,
Rise of the Ronin.
Brian trying to figure out the name of the game, constantly saying the name of the game. It was hilarious. Ronin, like a Ronin thing.
Oh, right,
Ronin
yeah,
thing. And
yeah,
it came up and it was like, Rise of the Ronin. Like, that's it!
I think I
That's
remember
the one.
this one. I think this was the one that reminded me of Neo.
Yes, so this is the one that was announced a while back, and I believe it's from. Is it Ninja
Oh, was
Theory?
it? Okay.
And they were like, oh yeah, it's going to be like Ronin, but with like a slightly more modern day. I believe it's in like the early 1900s, late 1800s, so there's guns and shit in it, and a bit more historical.
So your neighbor will be well happy.
Oh yes. So I'm looking forward to it. I think it looked cool. I remember being excited when it first showed back at E3 a year or so ago, or whatever it was. So we got a release date, so that'll be sick. So
I have Souls fatigue, so I'm like, yeah, whatever.
That's fair.
That's fair.
The OD game by Kojima.
I don't remember this one, but
nothing, Brian.
Yeah, so the reason you probably don't remember much, Pope, aside from the drugs, is because Kojima walked out of a door, and then him and, is it Jordan Peele or whatever?
Jordan Peele.
Basically gave each other head for 8 minutes, and then they walked off stage. Like, it was...
And Jeff sort of went, I made this!
Yeah.
I did this!
I made this happen!
That was
I made a thing.
It was just literally 8 minutes of them tossing each other off, and then it was.
We
just
did
like,
learn
cool.
some things. They're going for
Well,
some
it's a
weird
horror game, I
cloud-based,
guess.
Well,
community-driven nonsense.
Well, we already knew about the cloud-based stuff because he said that was his intention for his new game anyway. So how he made a Strand game, he's going to now make a cloud game, but not a game that's on the cloud per se, but uses the cloud in some kind of bizarre, magnificent way or whatever. For
It'll probably be good. Look who's behind it. Come on.
I mean, hopefully so. Hopefully so. I just wish we'd seen more, and especially when we talk about the Game Awards as a whole later. I think 8 minutes of them just blowing smoke up each other's asses was kind of not necessary, but you know, I'm sure it'll be cool. I mean, it had some actors in it again, so hopefully so. Are you guys stoked for a new Kojima game, or?
I'm
excited for Death Stranding too.
I didn't finish Death Stranding, so
What? Pause the podcast. Go and play it right now. We'll wait.
I have it. I actually re-downloaded it because of you. I haven't gotten around to play. I don't know if I could play it with one hand right now either way.
That's fair.
But
the gameplay is phenomenal, and then it's Kojima's story.
Was phenomenal. I remember I think I told you this before, that I got to a stealth part and I was like, well, I'm done.
That's fair.
I just really don't like stealth, but I've gotten better at it. So maybe I owe the game another chance for sure.
I'm just gonna wait until the movie comes out because they've had confirmation that that's going ahead. It's gonna be done by A24.
Yeah, I love A24. They're a great studio house, production house.
So that would be something to look forward to.
Yes.
The next one was kind of memed on because it was Jurassic Park Survival, and everyone was like, cool, there's lots of references to the first movie, but what's the game? Is it just more references to the first movie because we could just watch the first movie? That kind of thing.
It was so weird,
It was very, very weird. It was very bizarre. Hopefully we'll see something a bit more than scenes from the first movie being replicated. Who knows?
Traditionally, what was the Jurassic Park? There was like a park management game. Like in your city builder. That was pretty damn good.
Yeah,
I love that game, except for the Ankylosaurus. Just tested my patience so much.
The only problem with that game is it didn't have an open mode. You had to do the things. It didn't just go build a park. If it did that, it would have been like phenomenal. But it was good.
Did you play the second one? I didn't.
Oh, I didn't play the second one. No.
Okay.
I don't know if they fixed that.
I've only played the first one because it was on sale for pretty cheap. And I was like, not
I
really.
think I might gotten a key for that, so take what I just said with a grain of salt. I could be influenced. You don't know.
It's true. It's true.
I wasn't influenced, and I thought it was a lot of fun, especially for someone who doesn't like. Sorry, when I say like I don't. It's very hard to keep my interest for like city builders or like,
Management games.
I lose my interest really fast. It's just they're not for me. I played them a lot, and I just don't really find the appeal of them. Yeah, but I played several hours of Jurassic Park Evolution. I
think it's set up for people like that because it's very, mission based and do this thing, solve this puzzle kind of deal.
I think you're right.
It's a good way to deliver it.
Yeah. But I don't remember this one, so.
There was nothing to remember other than, I saw this in the movie.
Short remake of the first Jurassic Park movie.
Oh, I love that movie. Let's go watch it.
Right. The next one is one that we've known about for a while. They didn't actually show a lot of the gameplay and stuff, which is a bit of a bummer because they've shown gameplay in previous trailers, like a good 10 to 15 minutes in previous gameplay trailers, and that's Black Myth Wukong. A game coming out of China. I'm very stoked for this because everything I've seen from it, like I think this was one of their weakest trailers, but everything they've shown us previously looks amazing. The combat looks amazing. The game engine looks amazing. It looks like it's going to be sticking to the Wukong story pretty closely, whereas a lot of what we get over here in the West is usually iterations on it or kind of like memeing on it in some ways, like Dragon Ball with is it Goku or whatever and stuff like that. So it's going to be nice to actually probably get us something a bit more accurate to the original myth of
that's
Wukong. Cool.
Nice. Yeah. I'm curious. I'm interested. I'm gonna watch a lot of these trailers later, so like I'm opening the new tabs as we go.
What I recommend for Black Myth Wukong is watch just any of the other trailers. Like they're a good 10-15 minutes, and you'll see some dope shit, basically. But,
Awesome. I can do that.
Yeah, very much looking
Oh,
forward
Journey
to
to
this.
the West. That's right. That is Dragon Ball. I forgot about that.
Yeah. But hopefully that will. Did they give us an announcement date? I don't recall.
August 20th, 2024.
Ooh. So I'm going to be hopefully playing that in August because I'm going to be on it like a fat kid on cake. But the next announcement was Suicide Squad. Sure.
Really?
They didn't address anything.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? That trailer didn't go, oh, okay, I see what people are saying. Let's address that. It didn't really address that.
It was a little bit bizarre, wasn't it? Considering they spent nearly a year delaying it, and then they're like, ooh, still the same kind of Suicide Squad.
Well, is it though? Because it didn't look like the other trailer, but they didn't highlight anything. So did they make a trailer and hide the stuff?
There was less shooting random purple bollocks on the mobs. Where you were like, oh, you can't do anything until you shoot the purple bollocks. It was definitely still shooting. There was still like characters who don't use guns, using guns and flying and stuff for the poops and giggles.
We saw Superman. He did not have a gun.
Superman didn't have a gun?
The good guys have guns. The good guys have guns.
Yeah, but they're the bad guys because it's flipped and all the good guys are now bad guys.
Yeah.
It just didn't address any problem people had with the other one. And I don't know, like they've delayed it for you. They have to have changed something.
It's probably just going to die in a fire, to be honest. Let's be real with it. I'd never wish for a game to suck. But I do not have high hopes for Suicide Squad personally, based on what we've seen. Pope, do you have any thoughts and opinions?
No, I'm not really thinking Suicide Squad. That's why I've had nothing to say.
Warframe announced the Whispers in the Walls update.
Whispers.
Oh, cool.
We'd already seen some of it
whispering
before.
through the walls, Brian.
They are. And
looks like a large content dump.
Yeah, an expansion rather than a DLC.
Yeah,
I think is the better way to look at it.
Which they've done before, but like sometimes they just add a bunch of stuff, or hey, here's a tiny little story because there's a new frame kind of stuff. But this looked like a full-on boom. Also, I don't know because I haven't kept up for a while because I haven't played it for a while. But there were some frames in there that I didn't recognize, so maybe there are new frames as well.
Yeah, I think they are doing 2 new frames from what I recall from the original trailer way back, and that's the one where you can see the dude's face or something like that. I think it was like a semi-crossover thing to do with like another game they're making, but I don't recall. I don't play a lot of Warframe. I played it once, my community rushed me through it, and then I was like, I'm now bored of Warframe kind of thing, so I just haven't gone back to it, unfortunately. This next one was where we had that gentleman come on stage and talk about his father.
Oh my god, this one made me so like this was such a sweet gesture. I love this one.
Yeah, so
this is the one about his dad, right?
Yes, essentially, where he was talking about how games actually helped him connect better with his father, and then obviously his father's now passed, and he's kind of making a tribute to him. I thought this looked genuinely dope.
It looks very good, and I really want to play it just for the message behind it. Just made me happy.
Yeah,
but it says Ridley Scott and Critical Role.
Yeah, that's some big names in there, really. Isn't
Why does it say that? Do you know what I mean?
What do you mean?
Because like, look at the game. It looks cool. It looks like an effort indie, but then you've got Ridley Scott and Critical Role attached to the project.
I would assume for voice acting in terms of Critical Role.
Yeah, it's just the studio is founded by voice actors.
Yeah.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it says on the Polygon article about that.
Plus,
that's pretty cool.
We haven't seen any story, and I imagine there's a fair bit of story probably involved.
Yeah, but the gameplay so far looks pretty impressive. I'm not too crazy about the art style, like because it does look kind of indie-ish, I guess.
It looks good. It looks really good.
I'm not really into cartoonish, like the cartoon.
Oh, and they had boss fights, didn't they?
Mm-hmm.
That was quite interesting.
But the game looks excellent. I'm going to play it for sure.
Yeah, Tales of Kanzara Zhao, I believe it's pronounced, if I recall correctly. But yeah, keep an eye out on that one. That one looks like it's going to be sick. Then there was...
This was the Life is Strange one that I was thinking of.
Don't Nod announced Lost Records, Bloom and Rage. I don't care about Bloom and Rage. Do you guys care about Bloom and Rage?
You and me are not target audience here, Brian.
Yeah. What were you saying, Paul?
Magical Summer 1995. Maybe No, I think it was the other one that reminded me of Stranger Things. I don't.
Okay.
I'm not.
I don't want to be a teenage girl anymore.
I don't want to be a teenage girl.
I have fallen out of love with adventure games for a long time.
Says the 27 years of no contact, so they're not teenagers. It starts as teenagers, and they like get back together. I don't know. Don't nod. I haven't played their last game. Last games, but their writing is just so hard to get through. Like
The thing is, I know what you mean, because I played the first episode or whatever it was, and I saw some of the next game. But there are people who that really connects with them. Like,
no, totally. I played through.
I was like, oh, this is really bad writing, but they were like, well, actually, no, because it kind of gets me, and I'm like, oh, okay.
I mean,
so I have to reevaluate.
The writing, story wise, is pretty good. I could see where people can connect to it because they have like relatable problems, especially in like I know what was it? Tell Me Why was one that a lot of people connected with. My dialogue though is just always I don't know if I don't know about any of their recent titles, but I know it's a French developer, Don't Nod, and they were trying to write as teenagers from Washington in like Life is Strange, so that's why it came off so like unnatural, because you're like, oh, that's not what no one talks like that.
Also, the kids at this school, that was nothing like my fucking teenage years. And like, she's like, oh, I got to listen to music. And I'm like, oh, okay, what you got? And then it's just like, okay, where's the music? This is not music, is it? Am I out of touch? No, it's the children that are wrong.
Yeah.
It completely skipped me. So I assume if you like Life is Strange, this is for you. And a lot of people do really like Life is Strange.
That's true. Very, very true.
Yeah. I don't know. If it's cheap, I might check it.
I absolutely would not be. I have
Sandwich
no interest whatsoever.
Maybe. I don't know. Because I like playing choice-based games sometimes. If I hear good things and it's on sale, maybe. How about that? That's a better way of wording it.
Next one is
Not
one
gonna be-
that I think looks pretty cool. It was the first Berserker Kazan. Probably one of the more talked about games that was revealed, let's say. That wasn't like a massive AAA game. Did you guys recall seeing this one?
Yeah, it looks like a proper brawler, not a Souls-like, which I'm like, ooh,
yeah,
okay. I like me a brawler.
And again, there's the interesting art style as well. Kind of like,
yeah, it looks visually
reminds me a little bit of like Castlevania in a way. Like I'm getting a bit of an Alucard vibe from the main character. But yeah, I don't know. This one just looked fucking sick. At first, when I was looking at the art style, I was like, I don't know, like this semi-cell shaded look, you know what I mean? But then it grew on me quite quickly once the combat and everything kicked in. We saw some more of the details. What do you think, Paul?
I do kind of miss brawler games.
I have to watch the trailer again. So I don't really. Oh, I'm looking at it now. Oh yeah, this does actually look pretty dope.
Yeah, looks pretty sick. We don't really know a lot about it other than you get to swing a sword and be beefy.
It looks cool.
Yes, it looks exceptionally cool. And it's going to be out on
Beefy
all
stab
platforms.
kill.
A little bit like Sekiro.
Brian, the next one you're about to announce. Oh, also that last game was by Nexon, so...
Yes, that was another Nexon game, which is what I was saying earlier. It's like, oh, they're actually doing like these cool things, and I yave.
That's fucking Nexon!
It's like, how dare you? Yeah, that is a Nexon game, unfortunately. So go on.
So the next thing you're about to announce, Brian, I think we need to set the scene because, oh my god, they actually revealed the theme song from Final Fantasy VII.
Well, like, it was...
It's not a good song, dude. I'm such a... I mean, like, the girl they got out, I do remember this, like, the singer they had, like, I think I said... Like, her types are really good, but I don't like the song.
So there was technically more to it, but you would have only really been clued in if you'd been watching all of the other like Final Fantasy announcement stuff and things like that. It was supposed to be some whole like augmented reality thing. But obviously, if you were just watching the Game Awards and not aware or cognizant of the outside stuff, you're just like, oh, it's someone singing on stage. Cool. I mean, I think all the musical acts at the Game Awards were pretty sick. I think she did a good job.
Yeah, no.
I think the musicians and the
like,
singer
no
was great.
shade to her at all. I just did not like
a
the
good song.
Yeah. But yeah, it was more Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I'm not going to show the trailer because we've all seen it pretty much. There was kind of some story element stuff, semi-spoiler here and there as well, so probably a good reason to not show it. The next one was Apex Legends and Final Fantasy are crossing over. Didn't see that coming, I'll be honest. No. It's kind of cool,
that's
though.
Random.
But
it's pretty dope.
Next one.
A lot of live service games are dipping their toes into this. Like
a
lot
good idea for them to be doing.
Makes sense, yeah. It does make sense at the end of the day, because people, when it comes to live service games, are more about the gameplay rather than the story anyway, in the first instance.
Games like that are also really big on costumes, right? Like collecting stuff.
Like cosmetic stuff and things like that, yeah. Which is exactly the case for Apex. You sell cosmetics.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
Dress up as Tifa or whatever the crossover was. Wow. There was Honkai Star Rail, did a new Honkai Star Rail thing.
Oh my god, all these games look the same to me. When
it's just
when
money-making machine.
Yeah, they really love those. They're really popular though, so good for everyone who loves it.
Skull and Bones got a release date for the 7th time. Hopefully this one sticks.
It is in the hands of creators.
It's never coming out.
But they're all sponsored deals, so I'm not sure if we're going to get actual real info on it quite yet.
I'm sure someone will do something for it, like
hopefully, but they're all on contracts, so we don't really know what they've been told in their contracts and what they can say and stuff like that. People have been saying, "Oh, this is cool. I'm having a great time," but we yeah, this game should have been released 20 years ago.
That's true.
That's when I was excited to play Skull and Bones.
I mean, I wish this did straight away. I'm always mindful of like sponsored interactions anyway. Like I look for a review. You can't really technically have a sponsored review. You can have a sponsored first impressions and stuff like that. And obviously, if they don't say a single bad thing about the game, it's because they're sponsored and they don't want to. But of course, to be clear for anyone listening at home, you can't say anything you don't believe either. That would be illegal. So you can't be like, I think this game is amazing if you don't think the game is amazing, and that becomes apparent later on. The next announcement I think caught everyone off guard, and everyone was like, holy
the
shit.
Blade announcement?
Yeah, so the Blade game has been announced. It's by the same folks, Arcane Leon, who did the Dishonored
Deathloop
games. Yes.
It was strangely a strangely compelling trailer, because it started and it was just nothing. It's some guy in a barbershop getting a shave, right? But there was something about it that was like, okay, I'm kind of fascinated what's happening here. And then they went Blade, and I'm like, oh my god, take my money.
Do you notice he still paid for his beard trim or whatever?
Did he? I didn't actually notice. I didn't pick up on that.
Yeah, so even though it got interrupted, he still whips out like $20 and he's like, here you go, and then pisses off to murder dudes or whatever he was going to do. But yeah.
No, I'm taking from this article is Blade's 50 years old.
Yeah. Blade's like
that's
one of the OG.
Insane to me. I don't know why.
Yeah, was it one of the first comic book movies?
I don't know about movies, but it's definitely one of the older comics that's been around and seems to kind of like hide in the darkness, perhaps ironically, and then every now and then they go, here's a Blade movie. And it's like, oh yeah, we like that.
But most people who know of it are like, oh yeah, Blade's cool. I like Blade.
Hopefully this game's more like Deathloop than it is Redfall.
Let's hope it's better than Deathloop. Deathloop was good, by the way. But let's hope it.
I played a little bit of it, so I don't know how
very cool concepts.
It's a cool concept. That's why I played it.
It does have some flaws, but I think it's a good game.
If it's going to be closer to anything, it's more likely going to be closer to like the likes of Prey and Dishonored with like stealth stuff.
Like Prey was fucking phenomenal. Like Dishonored, great. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully, they could. Maybe they want to make this one.
Very smart of them to not mention Redfall.
Well, the guy who's directing it, obviously he was involved with Deathloop and Dishonored before that. He had no involvement in Redfall, as far as I'm aware.
This is the problem with Redfall. It has tainted the name Arcane.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I meant. It's because of Arcane.
There are valid arguments to be made that whilst at Arcane it was a different studio, it's still being overseen
Arcane
by the same execs. So that can still be something that you want to take into
If
consideration.
you're gonna give a studio this name for the recognition, you have to take the both sides of what that entails, right?
100%. So we'll see. I'm optimistic, but obviously I am wary of what happened with ye old Redfall. Best game this year? Was it even this year? I've expunged it from my memory.
It was this year.
I
played it.
Then
I was there.
Twisted Metal 2 season. Twisted Metal Season 2 was announced.
I'm gonna be honest, because we were always like, ripping on this because it's on Peacock.
Well, the fuck is Peacock? It has to every time.
So because of I saw this and my first thought was, when the fuck did season 1 come out?
Right. Yeah, apparently
and there's no shade to the show. I just haven't seen anything of it.
I still kind of want to watch it, but I'm not gonna fucking go and subscribe to fucking Peacock.
Yeah, apparently it's okay.
I'm not in the mood.
Yeah, I've actually heard that it's okay.
Yeah, apparently it's okay.
Is it? Well, I mean, if it got announced set for a second season, it must mean it was good.
It's doing well enough. Yeah,
true. That's true.
Next game was Lightspeed LA announced Last Sentinel, where
that was a weird trailer.
Yeah, so it was the one where
there was it looks like from Mirror's Edge a little bit from the still.
Yeah, it's got the cheekbones going on there.
Yeah. So she comes in, fights some cyborgs, rescues some kiddies, and
she is a cyborg.
But is a cyborg, yeah. So it was not really much substance to it other than it looked nice kind of thing.
It was intriguing. It was intriguing.
Then the next one was the first Descendant.
Which
I thought looked kind of cool, but again, it was just a cinematic trailer of people fighting large, scary robot thing in the sky.
It did look like an in-engine cinematic, which is something.
Yeah, definitely looks really cool. Then the Zenless Zone Zero trailer by the Hoyoverse.
Okay.
I think there's another Genshin Impact give us all your money game, so I'm sure we'll be making billions in a month.
People really love Genshin Impact, man, so it will.
They do.
They do very well.
Definitely a moneymaker. Then there was the Den of Wolves, which I thought looked quite cool.
From the GTO guys, dripping in style.
Yes.
I wishlisted that. That is one I wishlisted.
Yeah, I think this was like the 7th one I'd wishlisted by this point. There was definitely a lot of games to be stoked about.
Yeah.
Keeping an eye
I have
on
like all these like trailers like open. My browser is like ridiculous right now, but
many tabs. Yeah.
Well, I was on 2 main painkillers, man. I don't remember half, like the majority of these.
Nah, that's fair play. That's fair play. I mean, I go back and watch a few sometimes anyway, just like, was I interested in this one? And then sometimes there might be a game where I was like, oh yeah, I'm totally into this, and I watch it a second time, and I'm like,
this is just helpful for me because I couldn't remember. Because I couldn't remember like what I saw. I couldn't even remember what was even like announced. So
that makes sense. What was else? There was Exoborn. Don't remember that one at all.
It was the extraction shooter when they all had like mech like armor suits on and stuff.
Right.
It looked cool, but then it was an extraction shooter, and I'm not really into those.
Not really that.
But it's got a vibe that could be cool.
It's got a vibe.
I mean, I like extraction shooters, but I don't recall that one like grabbing me when I was watching the trailer. But who knows? Maybe a subsequent trailer could change things. Fallout TV show. There was a big suit on stage, and then Sean Murray comes on stage and he's like, I've got this really nice ambitious project, and everyone in the crowd are like, shut up, Sean, not again, kind of thing.
Brian, he literally promised the world.
He did literally promise the world. And then on Twitter afterwards he was like memeing on himself about it. But yeah, they're making a new open world game where it's literally a world. And I
can finally give Hello Games money.
Oh, the same. Okay, I was stuck on like the Fallout trailer, and I was like, "What are you talking about?" I was like losing. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so hopefully it'll be something cool. I've not really dabbled that much in No Man's Sky because
considering the track record that they had with No Man's Sky, it's like maybe wait a little bit.
I'm gonna be honest. Yeah, when it came out,
turned it around.
They more than turned it around. They turned it around during it was called the Next update. And they basically fixed up and they kept adding features. And they've been working on this game for 10 fucking, I don't know how long they've been working on this game. A long ass time.
They should have definitely
Oh
one
no,
ongoing
I was
game.
just saying because what you were just like, you know, people memeing on them for, you know, promising the world. It's like, so maybe wait a little bit.
This is why you shouldn't release too early. For me, they have earned respect and trust back from the years of content
for sure.
they've given. So I'm actually excited on release for this.
Okay.
I'm actually excited. And if anything else, the amount of entertainment that I've had off a sandwich game, because I'm like, oh, this got shit on. Oh, it's on offer. I'll get it. I just want to give them money. I want them to have money.
That's
because I have had so much enjoyment out of No Man's Sky over the years.
Yeah, 100%.
That's entirely fair. I respect that.
7 years.
I respect that a lot, PG.
Supporting that.
Yeah.
Personally, I really didn't. I didn't play much of No Man's Sky. I just, even still, like, I've heard good things. I just haven't really had much of an interest personally. And it's no shade to the game itself, but while I agree with what you said that there has been a lot of respect earned back, which is very hard for a publisher or creator to do. Like you have to work hard to get that back.
Yeah.
I still would.
For 7 years they have been doing that.
I know.
I'm probably going to get this on release.
Yeah, for sure. I'll watch for now.
Yeah,
and you should, to be a discerning customer, you should wait and see what people say about it for sure.
But if you want to pick it up on launch, I can respect that.
Yeah. I'll be keeping an eye. I wasn't bothered about No Man's Sky because sci-fi has to be done in a certain way for me to actually enjoy it, and the way it was done in No Man's Sky wasn't my vibe. However, this does seem to be more of my vibe with the fantasy like arc of it. So we'll give it a game.
For me, sci-fi just has to exist.
That's fair. That's fair.
And I'll give it a go.
They did a trailer for Stormgate, which I'm very excited about.
RTS, yeah.
They didn't really show anything new that we haven't seen in the past like month or so anyway. But
we did see some new in-game shots, but they weren't really showing anything new.
Yeah, it was more of rehashes from announcements they made over the last month, like the Infernal Host and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm stoked for Stormgate. I was a big StarCraft fanboy back in the day. StarCraft 1, Brood War, and then StarCraft 2 and the subsequent expansions. There was the new Guilty Gear Strive character.
I still have yet to play Strive, but man, I really want to.
Like I really want to play Strive because it looks sick. But yeah, I just don't have the time to learn a fighting game, so that's
the thing. It's like I love. I played Guilty Gear, I think X2. I think that was the one I played. And I didn't know before I played it. My brother like brought it home spontaneously one time. And that the amount of like, it's more about how many movie or music references that the whole, like all the characters and like music and character designs are all like revolved around. And as like, I love the concept, but I can't fucking play fighting games. I just, I'm bad at them.
They announced 3v3 mode as well in that trailer,
looks
didn't they?
dope, and it looks like a dope fighting game, but my God, am I bad at them? I want to play it though.
Next one was Final Fantasy 16 DLC trailer was shown. It was like,
looks dope.
Cool. I haven't played it yet, but I intend to at some point. And then they did the announcement for the finals, and they were just like, yeah, it's out. Hi, play it now. Goodbye.
Oh man, Steam was heavily promoting this.
Have you checked it out yet?
I've had my eye on it for a while. I haven't played it yet. Apparently it's doing very, very well. Around about 200,000 concurrent players, as opposed to the day before, which had 38,000 on the same day. But we'll talk about that in a bit. And then the final reveal was one that a lot of us kind of knew was coming, and that was Monster Hunter Wilds, which is essentially Monster Hunter Worlds 2. Like a better phrase.
It looks dope, dude. Like
I didn't know it looked bad.
So it looks like they've downgraded the graphics in comparison to World, but the reason for that, I suspect, is because World wasn't really open world. It was
it was more stage
zones and very highly detailed and dense, whereas this has got like big wide plains that you can run across with like literal herds of dinosaurs chasing you down and stuff.
There were a lot of animals on there, but that visual downgrade was significant.
I mean, that could have been console footage as well that we might have been shown.
Probably. Well, it says PS5 in the upper corner.
Yeah.
So who's to know? Who's to say? I mean, so I played through. I was streaming like World a lot. It took me a while to get into it because you have to play with the right people. You can't play with people who are going to carry you the whole time because then you're not really getting the best experience. When I played through Rise, even though it is significantly downgraded from World, it was still so much fun. I think that even the downgraded graphics kind of made
I'm willing
it
to accept that for a Switch game.
for sure. But like, I think in this case, from what it sounds like, what they're promising, it makes more sense for them to downgrade it.
I don't want to be a graphics snob, but it's just I was actually shocked.
Oh well, yeah, World looks stunning still to this day. But I mean, I'm willing to accept a downgrade considering like what they're actually promising in comparison, because World, even though it looks great, there's not much going on. Like there's not a lot of there's not exploration or anything, and the stages are pretty confined. So I think this was I wouldn't worry too much about the graphics.
Yeah, same. Also, there was 2 weapons. The guy had 2 weapons on his back, not just the one.
Oh yeah. Oh, I have to watch it again.
So that's, pretty big. You could be a hammer bro and a shield bro all at the same time. So there's going to be some weird new meta coming out, I imagine, with the game. It's something to definitely keep an eye on. Like I said, we kind of knew it was coming because Capcom were like, we're going to get a lot of money soon. Probably around this financial year. And people were like, oh, so that's Worlds 2 then. Huzzah.
Yeah. Well, the game did really well.
It did do very, very well. And for those not in the know, Baldur's Gate 3 is now out on Xbox. So go get it and enjoy it thoroughly.
Go play it if you haven't played it. It's excellent.
And if you like CCRPGs, try Rogue Trader. It is phenomenal. Maybe we'll have time to talk about that later.
Maybe. Should we go to break? We're kind of running behind.
I could do with a piss, girl.
Yep. Okay, let's go to break. We will have mics on hot and go get yourselves a drink, stretch your legs, and we'll be back in a 5 minutes.
I am going to use the restroom myself.
Welcome back to the second half of episode 22 of the Fully Rendered podcast. If you were here during the break, you would have heard me talk about following us on Twitter at Fully Rendered TV on EOD Twitter. And we also have a Patreon.
Yes, please. And on YouTube.
And on YouTube, yes. Go subscribe, like our videos, and share them with your distant relatives and close relatives alike, and maybe your dog.
Do algorithm things.
And just enjoy the show, hopefully. But also check out the Patreon.
Yeah, mostly just enjoy it.
Peachy and Pulp are working on a new project. The first special episode.
Pulp has been so high recently that we haven't sorted that out.
No, we haven't sorted it out yet.
But there is an episode of the special variety in the pipeline, and it will be on the Patreon. So
I was thinking about calling it Noob versus Nerd.
I love that.
Okay, cool. Sorted. There you go. Behind the scenes.
Thus a show was created. You saw some insider baseball there. But yeah, so just to wrap up the Game Awards then. So how did we feel about the overall show, like the Game Awards in itself?
Generally, it was good. Generally, but there were flaws.
It was some of it was pretty predictable. I was pleasantly surprised to see when we were doing the voting that in the two the categories, I was like, I feel Alan Wake deserved. I was really pleasantly surprised by that. I was like, damn, dude.
Best direction being one of them.
Best direction, dude. It really did deserve that one.
Yeah. 100%.
And I really hope it comes to Steam eventually, because I really think a lot more people need to get an opportunity to play that, because it's such a phenomenal game.
Yeah, it's not selling.
Do you know what?
Well.
Do you know what did suck about the Game Awards? There's a bunch of awards just read out in a list.
Oh my god! I think I do remember saying something because I was in the chat and I said, like, I remember watching. It's like, why they're just running through so many of them, and it's like they bloated up some of the categories, like added so many categories that felt kind of unnecessary,
and they combined ones that shouldn't be combined.
Yeah, and it's like why I didn't understand and this could have been the drugs, but I didn't understand why they would just like one after another, and it's like, oh well,
I can get it understand it with some categories. Like I would have expected the YouTuber one to be like that, but like
I think the ones for content creators and the esports ones don't like it, it's a big. I mean,
I would understand if those were read out in a list, but the YouTuber got a thank you acceptance speech, and some of the other games just kind of got reeled off, which did kind of suck. And then you kind of got kicked in the teeth with Hideo having 8 hours to pretty much say nothing. Don't get me wrong, I fucking love Hideo, like, but I don't know.
It's more like weird. I think they were just screaming their panties that Hideo was there, and they were like, "Oh, we got to give him more screen time," and just started like rambling off like some of the categories just to hurry up and get to him.
I think,
I don't.
Sorry, go on.
Oh no, I was. That's all. It's just some of them like it felt. They felt like just, like just someone like off stage was like telling him like, "Wrap it up, hurry up." Like that's what it kind of felt like.
It up.
There were a number of criticisms I can lay down. I've seen others bring these up on the likes of Twitter and whatnot and gamer industry discourse. There was one, obviously, they were trying to combat the judge effect, as it were, from previous, or from the previous Game Awards where he had an 8-minute speech originally. And obviously they wanted to prevent that. So apparently they were told that they would have 30 seconds to give their speeches. This was apparently laxed up about halfway through the show, where Jeff was like, oh no, this is a bit shit, please lax it up. And then towards the end, there was a picture that's been going around on Twitter where someone took a snapshot at the...
It was Dave Oshry.
Right, of the like screen at the back, the teleprompter screen, and it just said, please wrap it up. And it was during the speech for Best Game of the Year, which of course went to Baldur's Gate. So... I do kind of wish, like, I see what they were doing, trying to avoid the Chris Judge thing, but I do wish that they gave their time to shine properly and not like,
really
here's 30 seconds, here's music just kicking in. And it wasn't just like the music gradually kicked in. It was just like, here's some music to tell you to fuck off kind of thing. And it's like one person was literally talking about people who died at the studio and you're now trying to walk them off stage, like Neil from the Baldur's Gate team, stuff like that. I do wish they were given a bit more time to shine, and like he was saying, Peachy, it did feel weird that the best indie game was read out, and it was like, wait a second, the one like award that probably deserves a lot of attention because they're going to be the least likely to get it, at least a video from his home in France or something like that.
When you brought that up, I actually like couldn't even remember. I can't even remember who the best indie game was.
It was Sea of Stars, the only actual indie game on the indie best indie list as well.
That's absolutely tragic that they just read it off like that. Yeah. Because even though I had my own criticisms, and it was more about the writing than anything, not so much about the actual game itself. They absolutely deserve the praise that. And it got at least a moment on stage.
Yeah, I do wish they had their time to shine.
I can appreciate making a snappy show though, because I'm going to be honest with you guys, they do deserve a speech, but me watching the Game Awards, I don't care. Now that sounds horrible, but I actually don't. I want like, oh yes, they won the game, or oh wow, they won the game, or seeing some trailers cool. Some of the show stuff, like the music stuff, was really like the musical thing they did. That was cool. I like all that.
The flute player, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. But like I do like show and spectacle, and I don't care too much about. You're
more a fan of the pageantry than the actual awards. I mean, I don't really care about the awards either.
Well, no, I do like I want to know who won the thing. And reading them out on a list just kind of felt
the whole point of the show, like the awards don't change my opinions about any of the games that won. But I do feel if you're going to have an award show, you need. The primary focus should be on the awards. If that's and that's the thing with the
I actually disagree with that. But carry on.
Oh no. I mean like when I'm talking about it's like how they mishandled like, the best indie. it's at the very least you have, that I think it's great to have the spectacle. I think it's great to have the music and the announcements. But what you're saying about, like 8-minute speeches like this, there needs to be some structure. Like they need to figure out some structure to like avoid rushing people off the stage.
Yeah. Like when it comes to the Game Awards, I am not oblivious to the fact that the vast majority of the people that watch the Game Awards do not give a flying fuck about the awards. That is just a matter of fact statistically. However, when you are making something called the Game Awards,
a celebration of video games,
then they're definitely, and I completely understand that obviously to get money into it, they have to do the adverts. Like the people are like, oh, it's just like one giant ad, blah, 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 and they want ads out and
it
not
was
involved
better
in
than
it.
Last year with adverts though.
Yeah.
So some people just like complaining.
Either way, it's not realistic to have no ads in the Game Awards. There's got to be these ads, there's got to be the trailers, they've got to have these sources of income. But at the same time, I think with this year's the Game Awards, the balance had swung slightly too much in one direction, which then had a negative impact on the opposite direction, which was the awards themselves, the celebration that is the entire point of the Game Awards. And when you've got something that's so prolific, like there are other award shows that are done in different ways. You've got the BAFTAs, you've got DICE, you've got does GDC do one or something like that? There's a number out there, and you can find the one that is best done to the way that you think it should be done. But when the Game Awards is the most prolific, it has almost a certain degree of where it's expected to do things properly and not just make the awards like the side project. Like, oh, here's the reason to be here, but we're just going to reel it off and then be like, oh, all the ads kind of thing. So I feel like the balance just could have been better.
It was what I meant. What I was saying about the focus should be more on the awards was the fact that they were reading it off. That it just felt that it was just, instead of putting so much focus, like, I don't know, if it's too much, if you have too many categories that you need to start listing them off like that, start scaling them back if you have to, like, which I'm not thinking that's the solution. But when you start listing off, that's why, like, I didn't know who won indie, and that's
the worst part is they gave so much time to the celebs who were talking shit.
They always do.
Like, they gave them so much time. It was like, why the fuck was Timothy Chalamet giving the awards to the best game of the year anyway? Like, what? Because he used to mod controllers when he was a kid or some shit, and then he like comes out and he's like, "Oh, hello, I just walked into something back there. Here's an award. Goodbye," kind of thing. It was just like, what was the point? But yeah, like,
the thing is, the issue was an issue.
Yes, 100%. But they swung a bit too hard to counter it.
Overcorrected. I think maybe it needs to be a bit longer.
It does sound like they overcorrected for sure. And that's not the way you go about it. If they have to start figuring out a structure like on their own, like take a step back and figure out an outline that would better suit, and like when you start overcorrecting like that, you're just never going to make anyone happy.
Yeah. Jeff has said that he's going to look at making it better. So I imagine it'll be a minute or 2 minutes next time for the maximum speech.
Yeah, that's like, if it has to do with like speeches, like just start giving like time limits. Jesus, just tell people like, yeah, you got 3 minutes. That's it. Go.
I do hope there is substantially less star fucking, but I understand what they're doing with that. Like a lot of people,
it's a very high profile thing.
I'm not gonna lie, dude. I don't fucking care if a celebrity is in my video game.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Like, at all.
But the reason they do that, like, obviously one of the suggestions that comes to mind is like, why don't you have some celebs from the gaming industry, like some famous directors, stuff like that, or people who are just very prolific in video games. The reason they get people who you're more likely to see read about on Time or Variety magazine is because they want to get eyes from outside the industry onto the industry and stuff like that.
No,
so I get it.
I can understand that. But when we're watching the Game Awards and it's like what you were talking about, because I don't remember what happened with Kojima and Peele, but from what the two of you just described sounded insufferable. I don't want it. And I like Jordan Peele, by the way. I like Jordan Peele.
I love Hideo, and I listened to everything he said. But
but like, we don't need, that.
Also, he came out the PT door.
Yeah,
did he?
So he walked out of a.
Well, because it's a horror game. That's apparently.
I think it was just a Kojima dab.
It might have been.
Rather,
it might have been
Konami.
Yeah,
he was dabbing on the haters.
Yeah.
Oh God, I
I
have
do-
so many feelings about Konami right now, dude. But we'll get to that later.
I do want to say that I did enjoy the Game Awards, and
Oh,
I
yes.
thought it was good. But there is
I had a good
definitely
time.
room for improvement. It's somewhere
Right.
between last year's and this year's. I think somewhere between there.
I just think that they really just should not be listing off awards like that at all. If they need to figure out, if they need to restructure it, and I hope they do. That's all. That's just how I feel.
They just need to
'Cause
cut
you
out
can-
8-minute speeches with celebs.
Yes.
Just cut them down to 4 minutes. There you go. You've got another 12 minutes out of the 3 celebs that you were going to waste time on.
Well, it's like I can understand wanting, like, if it's a new announcement, because I don't. How long was the one with Matthew McConaughey? I felt like that because
His was quite long. There was
his was.
some
I remember
definitely
his
long
being very long, and that's great that you're excited to introduce this new project and you want to get the backstory about things, and that's great. But there is a way we can condense it,
ones.
because it's like, how long is the show? Like 3 hours
Round about,
generally. Yeah. So,
We'll see
yeah,
next year.
so I think restructuring would do them well, because it's at the point what they're doing is that they're just where they're at right now. It just seems like they're just overcorrecting every time and trying, and now it's just at that pendulum where it's like, oh, now we got to go back the other way, and it's not going to make anyone happy.
Yeah. Any final thoughts on the Game Awards, you two?
I know people complain about it, but I really do like the announcements in there.
I love the announcements in there.
I do.
I love
those.
the announcements in there. Please don't take
If it was, let's just say it was just awards, people accepting and then giving a speech, I probably wouldn't watch it if I'm perfectly honest with you. But it like, I like to know who's won. I definitely like that, and they should definitely get a little bit of chatty time to thank people and speak about stuff. It just needs tightening up, but it doesn't need the machete that it got compared to last year.
Yeah.
It was an overcorrection, but I still think it's a good show, and I'm excited for the next year's.
100%. Next on the agenda then is, we'll probably just skip over this one quite quickly.
Legenda.
Is the day before was absolutely a scam as predicted.
Yay!
God.
So
Can run.
Yeah. So for those not familiar with the day before, is they are a developer who had released some other games into early access and basically abandoned all of them, all but Prop Night. Then throughout the marketing for the day before, they kept marketing other products using their time and interviews with journalists. In fact, it recently come out that when journalists approached them, they were like, oh, we'll do an interview if you also talk about X, Y, and Z product. One of those products included a app that was supposed to essentially compete with Steam. That's not Steam, sorry, Teams. That app doesn't exist anymore. Surprise, surprise. So that lasted like 3 months, and now the website and app itself has also been shut down and disappeared off the planet. They then, about a month before their like 3rd or 4th delay, were like, oh, by the way, we've delayed it again, and we're going into early access. The game goes into early access the same night as the Game Awards for $40. Within 2 hours, it went from like 38,000 players and started dropping immediately. They've leaked some stats, or someone has leaked stats on how many games have actually been refunded, and it's been half of the 200,000 that they sold. So they literally like lost half their money to refunds immediately within the first 2 hours. The player count is something like 3,000 to 5,000 at the moment, as opposed to the peak that was 38. And the studio has announced that it's shutting down after 4 days and promises and whatnot. And they've also like scrubbed the YouTube of any evidence of it was going to be an MMORPG, an open world MMORPG or whatever, survival game. Turns out it's not open world. It's not an MMO. It's an extraction shooter. And they also did a announcement prior to release going, to all the haters, this is not a scam game. This is not an asset flip. And then people have gone through the code and been like, literally everything in this game is an asset that you have flipped. So yeah, I don't think they were actually making the game until very, very recently. And it's all been just like store-bought assets to make videos.
This is purely my opinion. Okay, this is allegedly opinion. They planned this.
Contrarian again.
No, they planned this. They didn't have a game. They made something. They shit it on, and they knew when they were putting it up, they were going to close down the studio.
They
The fact
probably
that
you're
it was
probably
40
right.
quid does vibe like they were just trying to rip people off, but there is a publisher who is dealing with refunds.
So actually, I was even thinking that people who played it for more than 2 hours, are they going to be able to get their
I
refunds?
think
Because
Steam has said they are refunding it.
that's
Yeah.
good. Because I was even thinking like, God, F in the chat for those people, because I don't think that's right.
That might be a legal thing.
So
but I think they put it up, and they're like, before they even put it up, they were like, we're going to put it up, and then we're going to close down. I think, opinion, that they planned it all out. Like
so
that.
I had said,
It sounds pretty premeditated.
yeah, I had said previously that I suspected they were just using the marketing and all the eyes that were on the day before to market their other products, because they clearly did that. They were literally like, let's talk about, like, they did a trailer or a video talking about how they were doing stuff behind the scenes, and it was supposed to be like a pseudo making of the day before, and it was literally talking about this Continental app or whatever it was called, like the vast majority of the footage. They would always market prop night and stuff like that. So I think they did an asset flip, like cinematic trailer, where it wasn't actually gameplay. It was just stuff pre-programmed to run around and do what it was supposed to do and look like gameplay. That also got loads of eyes. It became the most wish-listed game on Steam. I wouldn't be surprised if that was somehow botted in some way or form. I suspect it was, especially when it only sold 200,000 copies. Most wish-listed game on Steam, 200,000 copies? That doesn't sound right to me, does it?
Everyone saw what a scam it was going to be, so
and yet people bought it. Like lots of people bought it.
That's morbid curiosity, and it's only 200,000 people with morbid curiosity. And Big Fry probably bought 3 copies.
That's true. But,
so he can rip it apart 3 times.
So there was just so much. There were so many red flags that I was like, I'm pretty sure they're just using it to get eyes on their other products. And then when it came to actually releasing, they were like, oh shit, we can't just delay this anymore. And there was just so many lies and things that they did that contradicted themselves. Now it's out. IGN have given it a 1, which is the first one they've done in like a decade. That's how bad it is. It is buggy as hell. It is nothing like what they described. It's
not even good, like funny bad.
No,
it's bad.
No, it's just straight up bad. It was horrific. So if you did play it, that's unfortunate.
Whoever designed the lighting plugin they used, that's some good shit, dude. Because that lighting was like really nice. Whatever plugin they use, find out if you're making a game that looks like a good lighting engine. And apparently you can just throw it together when you have absolutely no reason to make the game. You can just throw it together. So good job on that.
Good job, Unreal Engine. But another thing that actually occurred was DayZ did a sale with DayZ and Icarus, and they called the sale the day after, which was pretty good marketing. Yeah.
Yeah. They also posted about it in the same press release that Fantic did.
Yeah, they also like completely memed on the announcement about
I'm glad
them closing the studio. But yeah, the day before, it did end up being a literal scam. I would not be surprised if some stuff ends up in court with this. We've learned a lot more stuff.
Maybe that's why the publisher has picked up those refunds, because they can see.
The 2 guys who are the founders, it turns out they're actually Russian, and they were using an address in Singapore. And apparently that was to get rid of, like, I don't know, what you call them, tariff stuff, to get around that sort of thing. But a journalist actually went to the addresses that they had registered in Singapore, and they were literally just holding addresses. They got there and none of the actual studio existed in these buildings.
No way.
Yeah. And they've looked into like their profits and stuff, and apparently like these 2 guys were just sitting on millions of pounds, and it's like, okay, half your studio, if not all of your studio, is volunteers and stuff like that. You've clearly not been making a game. You're using assets that were just created in the last year or so. So that's why a lot of people are like, you've only just actually started doing things with the game. So
that's insane.
I think they literally intended on just going, this is going to get like refunded by loads of people, but a lot of people are not going to refund it. Let's just sell it, make as much money as we can, and then peace the fuck out. I genuinely think that was the intention, and it's not incompetence. It's
I
literally
think that too.
malicious.
Ew, that's
So, yeah.
gross.
So yeah, I'm expecting some kind of lawsuit or some documentary in 5 years' time where it's like
Oh God,
the
yeah.
day after festival kind of thing, as opposed to the Fire Festival, of course. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
I want to see the
Maybe
magma
Night Festivals will
muscles.
do what happened on that
What
one.
happened?
That's the video I
What
want.
happened?
What happened?
Next on the agenda, I'll let Pulp take lead on this one because I know she was particularly interested in it. The TOS shenanigans.
Oh no, I was like saying I have a lot of feelings about it.
Share your feelings, but also summarize what the issue is.
Put me on.
Summarize the news, Pulp.
Okay.
So there was a new meta going around where there were Twitch streamers streaming. It looked like they were topless.
Implied nudity.
And
just to jump in, that's what people have assumed. I don't think that's correct, because to get policy through,
it lines
takes
up
fucking ages.
correctly. I think that was part of the meta. That meta kind of was the jumping off point. I did see, I know Mordecai was one of them, and there was a few others. And it did legitimately look like she was topless, and I guess was wearing, she claims that she was wearing a very small top that made it look like it, but I don't believe that. So Twitch came around because I'm pretty sure they were receiving the complaints and decided to change their TOS to allow artistic nudity.
Which was a shock. What?
Huh?
Twitch did, that was a shock, but hey.
It was a shock.
Twitch did a thing.
And what ended up happening was the art category was inundated with numerous streams, I think with the exception of one, that was just a bunch of big mommy milker anime titties, furry dongs all over the place. And it was a mess. Who would have thought that people would try to exploit it? And I think there was also AI generated porn, which was apparently what people were taking the most issue with.
That's what Twitch said.
That's what they claim, because you can't differentiate between AI or actual photography, which, I mean, I guess just look at the hands.
Yeah, if you've seen a photo before, you can. But
and from what I understand too, is they also are removing anything that has sexual content from the recommended front page, which I'm entirely okay with. I have zero issue with. However, because of the whole issue with the artistic nude, they have rolled it back entirely within 24 hours, which I guarantee you had to do with advertisers.
Was it entirely, or was it just the art category stuff?
The art category, the artistic nudity. And I guarantee you, with that fast of a turnaround, it had to be sponsors threatening to leave. There's no doubt in my mind.
I don't know. Did you see the art page? Like, I think someone just kind of saw it and went, "I think we fucked up, lads."
Yeah. So
Twitch isn't usually that quick.
So on the back of that, just to add a couple of things. So there's
American Express threatened to pull. Sorry, Brian, Karen.
No worries. There's a lot of conjecture that it was spurred off by the morgue pie thing to get it changed in the first place. What I was saying before is based on things that Moblord has said, who's actually someone who used to work at Twitch in the moderation community aspect. He says it takes months to get policy through. So it looks like it was something they were already working on. Then there was the whole morgue pie stuff, and she's like, "Yeah, my titties aren't out."
It kind of like probably lit a fire under their asses, or maybe like it just lined up correctly.
Yeah, I suspect probably the latter. But yeah, the whole morgue pie thing was weird. Where she's like, "No, I'm wearing a top." And it's like there's literally a clip of you having a nipple slip.
With a lot of people when they were covering it, she was getting referenced a lot. So I guess in a way, the credit was being given to her.
That was where the profile was.
I am inclined to believe the former, that they might have caused them to light a fire under their ass with how, like, because it really did look like she was naked in the stream. 100%. And it wasn't just her. There was another girl, I think it goes by Asian Bunny, who does it. There's a lot of these Twitch streamers who are OnlyFans models and tend to really toe the line. And I have personal beef with it because I have a background with, I say I'm a former Instagram model, so I know a lot of people who are in that field. And I take issue with with the whole concept of having like sexual content on Twitch because it's a 13 and up website. The part of the reason why I distanced from that on Twitch was I don't want that associated. You know, there's children on here.
Right.
That's it. And if there's there was a meme I saw. I can't remember which one it was.
They were 18 plus streams. We got to point that out. They were 18 plus
but you
streams.
should not make 18 plus streams being recommended to your front page. First off, when you go on Twitch, there's 18 plus. And even still, like 13-year-olds, like if you're gonna come on, man. It's very predatory, and I understand that that's the market.
I'm just pointing out that they were 18 plus streams.
Yeah. They were, but if there's not enough obstacles for children to come across that. It reminds me a lot of Newgrounds when I was a kid. You know, going on there and you're trying to look up like, oh, you want to look at this game, and I think and I'm just using More Pie again as one other example because I remember seeing her video response to it because she got banned, and I think the ban's been lifted now. So I mean, that's just a gesture. It's very thoughts and prayers of Twitch at times when they ban people. She was trying to claim that she was playing a game, and I guess she was playing but it was so zoomed out, tucked up in the corner. Yeah. So when you see that, and I'm using her as the example, if a kid is maybe interested in a classic game and they see that, and she's like at the top of the at the top of that category, like there's not enough obstacles, even though it claims to be a mature stream. Come on, it's not. That's absolutely wildly inappropriate.
I would definitely distance myself from pill clutching. Oh, think about the children. I'm more concerned, like, this is where I work, and I consume porn. I do. I'm not a non-porn consumer. But I don't want. I wouldn't want to be sharing like an OnlyFans platform. I wouldn't want to be sharing that.
It's the same thing.
Like the artistic nudity, what Mogpie was doing, like that's whatever. It's not what I'm watching, but like that's whatever.
But you don't want to coexist with that. Is that what it is?
No, I'm fine with Mogpie doing what she was doing. I don't have a problem with that. I just wouldn't want to share if Twitch also did OnlyFans content type stuff. That's not the platform I would want to be on. Not that that's what Mogpie was doing. It was implied. It's whatever. It's not like the people that go to watch that are watching what I do.
That's true. I agree with that. When people complain that I don't want those. About like them like taking the audience away from them. It's like they weren't coming to see you, bro, in the first place.
Yeah. That's for sure. That's a dead argument.
I just don't like the idea of pushing those boundaries when it comes to sexual content on a site that's not sexual at all. It feels very reminiscent of like, for example, I was talking to my husband about this, but when I was on Instagram, how there are like a lot of people who will push the boundaries just like that, and they end up getting banned constantly and go like, I don't know what happened. And it's like, yes, you do know what happened. They have it listed in the TOS that you can't show X, Y, or Z. You still did it. And when it's a public platform like that, and like Twitch, and I even have my issues with because I know like some people are from that Twitter allows porn, but I mean, that's fine. Whatever. It doesn't bother me that much. It's just, I don't know. It just feels like every person who took advantage of the artistic nudity, being allowed, which they were allowed to do it.
They took the piss. People took the piss.
They took the piss, and
they were taking the piss within the letter of the law because they saw the loophole.
You can use the argument that they were allowed to because they did state that they could do that. And if Twitch wanted to allow like figure drawing, and that's what I assume that they were trying to think of, is like, or go with, is like figure drawing.
Yeah, obviously
classical art. That is,
you have to specify that.
You really don't have a problem with any of that stuff at all. It's just when
it's the hentai though.
Yeah, when you start moving into actual pornographic content, that's not the platform that I want to be on.
Right.
Yeah.
And but like what I do not think for a second what Morpie did, the meta, because she was the high profile one. I don't think that's a problem. I don't think that specifically is a problem, and I think Twitch is going to look at what they did and lock it down a bit more.
Yeah.
I think what they did is coming back, but with a longer thought process on how do we actually get this to work without having that. We saw that art directory. There was one artist in there. Like it was, Jesus Christ.
Just a watermark that says no titties can be found here. Kind of thing. Something to that effect.
That's funny as fuck.
But there's a lot of points you two have covered that I want to touch on. First and foremost, like to clarify for those listening at home. They added a number of things to the policy. Some of the stuff was like, you're not going to get banned if you're caught twerking at a nightclub or something to that effect. Like if you're in a strip club and you are actively doing a striptease, then no. But if you're like doing a jokey striptease, we're not going to ban you for it. Whereas before they would have, because they would have to ban everyone who broke the TOS. Then they added like you can do like sexual things as long as you're not literally doing porn and as long as you label it. The labels are to deter advertisers from getting upset, because if it's like labeled as sexual, they just don't put ads on it, for example. And because in terms of legally, it will mean that something will pop up, for example, are you sure you're old enough? Click OK. The same sort of thing you'd see on porn sites. That's a legal requirement, the age verification. With that in mind, to touch on one of the points, I think the stuff we have on Twitch for the most part at the moment is fine, as long as it is properly labeled and it's not people trying to push the envelope and taking the piss and literally like finger banging their gooch for the poops and gigs. You know, which we've literally had before. We've
banging the gooch.
Yeah, we've literally had people do that and stuff like that. Like when people are pushing the envelope and being like, how far can I push it and get away with.
I mean, no matter what, there's always going to be people finding loopholes. And
that's exactly what happened. But overall, like if people want to be sexy or if they want to do suggestive stuff, as long as it's labeled properly and isn't, as you mentioned, being put in the recommended and front page stuff, then that's fine. Also, to touch on that, Kai Cenat was streaming and he was on the homepage despite the fact that he had sexual themes as a tag. So we don't know if he gets special treatment because he's one of the 1%ers or whatnot, or if that was it not working, but something to be mindful of. When it came to what actually made them roll back some of these changes, so to be clear, it was specifically the stuff to do with art. Now, I was actually really happy for the change, because there have been times where I've been like, oh, can I draw a massive pair of titties as part of this drawing, or am I going to get like banned or temporarily suspended for it? But I also read it as in a tasteful way. And then, unfortunately, the art category was like, big furry cock. Here's a big furry cock. You get a big furry cock. You get a big...
And the thing is, like, there are like there's some really brilliant artists that maybe like the subject happens to be naked. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. It's when you're getting when people were getting egregious, like the big massive furry cocks and the mommy milk, the big anime mommy
drawing porn,
and it's like they're playing the game like, and they realistically, they were within the terms of services, but it's like, but you're
like, it was kind of, you could see what was
implied. For a fact that's not what they meant.
Exactly.
And I unfortunately, like what I was trying to say, and it's annoying to think this, is that you kind of have to treat people like they're dumbasses sometimes. Like if you're going to put artistic nude, like talk to them like they're a 5-year-old sometimes, and be like, this is what we mean.
Not hentai, basically.
Yes, not hentai. Even because like there's always the joke, I'm sure we've all like said it or seen it where someone says like hentai is art. It's like, there's artistic merit that's lent to creating it, but like it still falls under the category of porn.
It has a purpose. Is pornographic in nature.
But you do have things like, I'm sure somebody who's listening has gone to like a figure study class, and they bring in nude models for you to learn about like how to draw figures. And that's what when I see artistic nude, that's what I took from that. But of
that was
course, you know,
absolutely
everyone
what
has
they
to
meant.
ruin it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
that was the
and-
word of the law, but it wasn't the letter of the law, so people
Yeah,
took the piss.
that's
Yeah.
yeah.
And that's the unfortunate
Dead
thing
on.
about it. The art community ruined that for themselves by thinking, oh, we could just do this now. And it's like, no, you fucking idiot. What are you doing?
And that's what sucks is because there are a lot
It was
of
probably not the same people, though.
I've friends. I know quite a few art streamers that don't do that at all.
Yeah.
And like that, and I'm pretty sure they would have loved the opportunity to include like be kind of given the ability to flex on like working on the human anatomy a bit more, but and not in a pornographic way.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
And
like
even then,
in,
you probably could have gotten away with like slightly sexual things. Like you could have probably done like maybe,
Titillation.
yeah, like maybe some glam stuff where the wabs are out.
yeah,
and you're
that's
just like, all
that's
right,
what
cool.
that's what I'm referring to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But when they were just straight up like,
The
oh,
wabs, for fuck's sake, right?
Well, it's like, you know, because I know some, I know because they specify with like video games, like because especially now more so recently, like when I was playing Alan Wake 2, and like right at the beginning, there's a dong,
yeah,
like so you know,
That is already in TOS, as long as
No,
you're not
I already
dwelling,
know.
and that's not
I
the
already know
focus,
that.
right?
I know that.
But they managed to write that down, but they couldn't write
Yeah.
this down correctly.
But it's like what we look at with video games too is like they have like they have their ban list where it's like certain games like I know
Genital jousting is still on that ban list. Genital
that.
jousting.
It's tragic, but like they have their ban list for certain games, and I think all of us too, especially now as like over time, you can use your common sense and be like, okay, so if the game has like we see that, yeah, there's like, you know, genitals in the game, but it's not the primary focus. It's not the intent is to turn someone on. It's not a porn game.
Like Conan. Conan had big wibbly wobbly dongs.
Oh, there's a lot of dongs in Conan, but and it's yeah, the art community really did fuck themselves when you think about it, because it's like you had something good, guys.
yeah.
Especially whoever was doing AI porn.
Yeah,
Like,
the
that's-
people that were taking the piss are not the people who are like, hey, I'd like to draw proper art, please. That
Well, right,
is
it's
not
like-
the
it
Some
same
of them
demographic.
were
It takes-
like the people that
Oh.
were drawing were artists at the end of the day, but there were obviously some people who were literally just like, oh, this is the rule, is it? Let's see how far I can push it, like the AI part.
And I do like I'm not, it's not the whole like pearl clutching. I just think that there's something gross to me about having like, if it's not behind at least a paywall, like blatant pornography, nudity should just not, and to that extent should be so easily accessible. You have to put obstacles in front of it.
Yeah, I see what you're saying in that
opinion.
regard. I think what Pichu was referring to is more of some of the wider, probably like folks on Twitter who are just like, oh, what about the children? And they're like going in on that, and it's like they're just using that as a front because what they're actually like whining about is just women.
Well,
doing
I'm referring to because like I
Mm.
have like I have nephews who go
Yeah.
on Twitch, and that's what I was referring to, because like when I saw that and I was like, and I mean I always took issue with like some of the stuff that I was getting recommended, because it's like I don't watch this. I know some of the people I follow was why I was getting recommended it,
Yeah.
but none of them are very explicit, and I just, when I saw the artistic nudity stuff and like all the, you know, everything that was going on with that art category, that's where I kind of started going like, dude, I really don't think that's anybody who did that. Just like that's fucking disgusting. It's the fact that you make it so blatant like that. Screw over your own community too.
Yeah. 100%.
But it's like, this is not like a you know, using children as a shield, but it is something that I've always felt very strongly about, that's sexual content of that nature needs to be at least behind a paywall, or at least make
Children-
it difficult for them. They're
Children
gonna
who
find it
can't-
no matter what.
Yeah, children who
going to-
can't like, like children should have something in place to protect them. The thing
For
is,
sure.
parents should be doing that.
Yeah, I agree. You're right.
Like nanny
agree with
state,
that.
I feel very icky about nanny state. I understand the merits of not allowing children to get anywhere near that, but it like
I'm
nanny
only
state
arguing-
ideas I'm just not a fan of in general, because
No, I understand. It's not about
I
nanny
saw
state, it's more like-
wabs on the train tracks on a fucking dirty porno mag that was left in the street.
No, I mean, the whole point I'm making is just if just having obstacles doesn't make it is like kids are gonna find it no matter what. Like we've all been kids before with the internet, so it's like they're gonna find it no matter what. But like you don't have to make it so
better.
easy.
If you're a kid, there are better sites to find it on.
Yeah, there's way better sites, but but don't
For
make
instance,
it so easy.
do you have...
Yeah, a lot of the people who go to Twitch for that type of content, it's very parasocial, I would say, rather than I'm just trying to get off. Like, no one goes, oh, you know what, I'm going to watch Pokemon so I can, you know, nut into a cup or whatever. Like, they're going to go to a site where that's more like expected.
The cup, Brian.
I'm all
like
about
the Reddit cum box.
I like to set the scene, you know,
and using a Dixie cup.
But yeah, so like, I don't think, for the most part, there are outliers, and that's exactly what they are, outliers who do get caught and banned. But I think for the most part, the sexual themes of what we see on Twitch is tame. I don't want to say like child friendly, but it's something that they're going to see in movies and music videos and stuff. And as long as it's gated into a point where, one, it's legal, which it is, a lot of this stuff is legal requirement that they've put in place, but also that there are some kind of like wall blocks or whatever, just
it doesn't have to be specifically a paywall, but just don't make it. It shouldn't be on the front page.
Yeah, which is one of the changes that they've allegedly made. So
I saw that, and I do appreciate that one. And it's like, and I only like say like I'm very like in favor of like, you know, and supportive of a lot of, you know, I have a lot of friends who stream, and maybe they are doing that. I don't know. I don't consume that content. That's just where I stand on it. It's just, I feel like there's a time and place, and there's a lot of people who don't understand where there's a time and place.
One thing I want to add as well, I was going to say it earlier, but I got distracted, is the end game for Twitch. And it's going to sound very reminiscent of a certain crazy psychopath who runs Twitter, but I think they're trying to do like the everything platform.
They really are.
That they've obviously discovered
Fortnite of content.
Kind of, yeah. So
well, there's so much competition these days when it comes to social media, and like so like trying to have like create like an, you know, all-in-one hub is it seems like the ideology, but you can't please everyone.
To be clear, I don't think they're trying to make like an everything app or an everything website in the same degree as X, but I do think they're trying to become the place to watch live content. They don't give a fuck about the VOD content. They haven't iterated on that in a long time, and any iterations they have done have been to send them to third parties easier and stuff like that, like TikTok and YouTube Shorts. But I do think, since they have seen how much money just chatting makes and all the variety of subcategories within just chatting that you can get, they basically have ascertained that people just want to be live doing shit, whatever that shit may be. So they are loosening some of the reins on some of the more stricter rules that we've had in the past, such as the stuff to do with sexual content, just so they can get more of it on the platform. And it's going to become less of a website for children, as people sometimes refer it to, as
which is
just
weird. A website.
I don't think of it as a website for children at all. But
yeah, that's usually just people trying to, again, use children as a front.
I only use if it's 13 and over. Like I have the attitude, it's like 13-year-olds are gonna find whatever they want. If a 13-year-old, if you wouldn't expose yourself to a 13-year-old, then it shouldn't be on a site where it's easily accessible when there's 13-year-olds potentially present or younger.
Yeah, I think they're moving away from the whole like, let's aim our target audience at, you know, early
the audience are also
late 20-year-olds who play games, to let's just aim it at everyone who has access to the internet. And,
you could be right, because it's also the original audience they probably were targeting during when Twitch was kind of like what started out is growing up, and most of the younger generation are more likely to be on TikTok. So there's always going to be new platforms, so might as well like broaden the.
So yes and no.
Maybe I don't know. That's
the way it seems to be going is obviously a lot of the older people, if anything, have moved away from Twitch, and the younger audience is always the most dominant one. That's why a lot of the times when it comes to the content creator of the year, we've never heard of them because it's people who are aiming at the younger audiences, the early 20s and late teens and such.
Right.
So they are vastly the bigger audiences. That's why it's generally better to be child friendly and stuff like that for advertising and sponsorship deals and whatnot as well. But I don't think Twitch are looking at this and going, oh, okay, we're bored of gamers, let's move on. I think it's more of a case of there's money out there and we want all of it. So we're going to have a section that appeals to the Kumas. We're going to have a section that appeals to the gamers, a section that appeals to the artists, to the people that like watching people drive their Uber journeys and stuff like that. So they just want that wider appeal because it's a wider net, catches more fish at the end of the day. And that's the plan.
It's true.
But they need to nail down that terminology, my dude.
They do.
Yeah, they really need to figure out the terminology. But I mean, yeah, no, you're probably right. Especially after, like, what was it, a while ago, we were all like, there were people thinking that Twitch was dead. You know, they're like the amount of times they were like making the wrong calls. And I remember seeing, like, you know, people say that Twitch is dead.
Yeah.
So, like, I mean, they're doing better. They're doing better, and I do applaud how quickly they turned to like roll it back. But I mean, the fact that you didn't figure out your terminology.
That's a rectory, dude. What an absolute clusterfuck.
Oh my god, it's so funny. And that's why I tweeted out. All I had to say was, "This is so goddamn goofy."
The post nut.
Yeah, people are always saying that. But that's I can applaud that they at least acted quick enough. I mean, not quick enough, but quickly. Just maybe don't be so amateurish in how you word things.
Yeah.
And try to, and if you have to treat people like 6-year-olds and go like, here's what you can do, none of this.
100%. 100%.
No hentai.
Peachy, do you want to lead the next topic? You're informed
Which is
on
the next topic?
The completionist.
I was watching I forgot, it wasn't Mudahar, it was the other, it was whoever else was. Yeah, I was watching it.
So if you don't know, the completionist was pulled up by specifically two YouTubers, which is Some Ordinary Gamers, which is Mudahar is gone, and Carl Jobst. And they, quite rightly, brought some awareness to the fact that the Open Hand Foundation, which the completionist was raising money for, he was the CEO on the board and stuff, hadn't donated any money. And they were both decent videos that pointed out some stuff, and there was some conjecture in there, but they pointed out a lot of stuff. Then, finally, Gerard, the completionist, made a video. And I will say it was a decent video. I think it was a good video. There was some stuff going on there, and there was definitely some anger at the end, and he threatened lawsuits on... Well, he didn't name them, but he threatened lawsuits on...
you know who he was referring to.
And jobs, yeah. The problem where I'm at the moment is he made his response, which again, I think was a good response. There were some things a little nebulous left out. Now, Some Ordinary Gamers and the and Carl Jobst have now made rebuttal videos, and it's gone a little bit. Now, they've made videos with facts and some proof and some logic. They have done that, but it's gone a little bit YouTube drama-y for me. And I expect them to make rebuttals. Mudahar's in particular it wasn't bad. It was just badly presented. Mudahar's came off very drama alert kind of deal. And I'm like, I can't watch any more of this because they brought up some
kind of
really
going. I feel like
it doesn't need to though. Like they brought up some
I agree with
stuff
you.
that definitely needed to be brought up. And then the completionists came back, and they should have made rebuttal stuff. It's gone a bit too dramery, and now I'm like, until we hear some information about this audit that is coming to the Open Hand Foundation, or I'm just getting lost in this slag baiting that is now happening.
Right.
I like some ordinary gamers. The presentation of his last video was really bad, and he needs to fucking check that. Carl, pretty level-headed. But there were some things in there, like for instance, he was talking about he was saying that the completionist has said he was giving money to these organizations, and then he would play a clip of the completionist saying these things, but the completionist wasn't actually saying those words. He was using language that was quite nebulous, like maybe purposely so. I'm not saying that the completionist isn't scamming people, but I'm also not saying he is because of the wording he was using. And when Carl was showing these instances, it was like, that's not actually what he's saying.
He also used a lot. He was trying to like almost bombard you with those instances because he would.
The thing is, he was saying like, oh yeah, he said they gave money to this, and obviously that's what Gerard was implying, right?
Yeah,
right.
But he wasn't saying that, and Carl didn't pull that up. And the longer it went on, I was like, this is getting now dramery. He said, she said stuff.
Yeah.
And now I just want lawmen on the case, audit open hand. I was happy with the original videos from Some Ordinary Gamers and Carl Jobs and the rebuttal from the completionist. Now it needs to go to a court because this is just doing YouTube drama. And I have like the fatigue has set in because that's not what I care
It's been going
about.
on for weeks now.
Yeah, but he's only just rebutted it, right? Obviously, he's spoken to lawyers, and because they are serious allegations, very serious allegations. So it's obviously taken him a while to get the fact, because he did say a lot of stuff, and he gave a lot of resources in the comments.
His rebuttal or what his video was, but what you said about Mudahar's video, I haven't seen him. I have to be in the mood for him.
No, same. It's just the presentation of his rebuttal was not good.
I was wondering, like, from what you're describing, if it has anything to do with like the completionist referring to like possibly taking legal action might have spurned on like a more like sloppy response. Would you?
Well, I don't think so, because if someone does that, you go, right, okay, the next video needs to be
more
very serious and covered, because there is a section, the middle third of the completionist video is very dry. It is just numbers and dates and intricacies of running a charity, which I do know a little bit about because I've worked for a charity for a long time. I did work for a charity for a very long time. Right. I understand a lot of the terms he was saying.
Okay.
And if someone threatens you with a lawsuit, don't go YouTube drama. Don't go YouTube.
No, I agree. That's
So,
why I'm like, I heard that there was a mention of a lawsuit because I was watching who's the other guy? I'm so sorry. I always get
Carl Jobs.
Okay, him. I'm not gonna be able to remember. I was listening to his video. I believe it was this morning because I knew we were going to discuss it. And when I was getting ready, like because it takes me a lot longer to get ready right now. So I was just he was like showing a lot of clips of Gerard, and I was just after a while kind of felt like a little bit like overkill at some points where I'm like, I don't even know what point you're trying to make right now. So I just kind of turned it off and was like, you know what, I'm gonna wait to hear what you guys have to say about it, because especially since you in particular, Peachy, been following it more closely, and I think you understand what's more going on, because somebody coming in not fully understanding everything, like the ins and outs, and just haven't been keeping up. It's a very it's a lot to take in, and it doesn't seem like there's like really Mudahar is Canadian and Carl is Australian.
Temps wrong, unfortunately. I was going to touch on that afterwards, but continue.
Okay. But okay, I saw that and I was like, okay, but either way, it's very overwhelming for somebody to just come into, and I don't think how much of this back and forth, especially now, it's starting to escalate into like more of a YouTube drama-ish field. Like it just feels petty if when you start getting into that point, it's like now no one's really gonna. I mean, you just said you're getting exhausted.
I came in from a very interesting position because I had respect for the Completionist, and also I have respect for Carl Jobst. I've enjoyed both of their content, completely separate. They've never crossed over before. And so a lot of people were coming from this side or that side. A lot were coming from some ordinary gamer side as well. But like those two, I was like, I respect both of these creators. So I was like, oh, I am interested and I want to know what's happening.
For sure.
So to add again to some of the points you've both made, I think personally it wasn't a scam. I do think Gerard fucked up and was incompetent, and that incompetence has led to him now trying to cover up his incompetence to a degree. He does apologize. He's like, oh, I probably shouldn't have said this, probably shouldn't have done that, but yet there is evidence that he has doubled down on that type of behavior at the same time. For example, he's known for a year, and yet he has advertised Indieland since then saying, oh, we've made donations to blah blah blah. Does a donation technically mean monetary donation? No, technically not. But you know, there's definitely a lot of. I feel like there's some straws that they are clutching at to make their excuses, and I do genuinely believe he should have been a bit more like, yeah, I actually did fuck up, I'm sorry, kind of thing. We've made the donation now, which they have done, and things like that, and then that would be the end of it. And then that would be it. But he then got emotional and was like, oh, these people keep saying all this shit. And it's like, well, you made it look like that, mate.
That's something he kind
you
of,
know what I mean?
That's where he kind of fucked up on from what it sounds like. Cause like, I understand being upset and what, and claim, from what I understand about, you know, specify, you know, mentioning a lawsuit. It does come off like more like if you want to be cut and dry, address it, apologize, fix it. You can't escalate to anger afterwards at the end, because that, even though he has a right to be upset if he feels that he was being accused of something that he wasn't doing, kind of, you have to bite your tongue on things like that, and especially when it comes to threatening lawsuits, it's never a good look.
He also was very much like doubling down on the whole I was doing this for my mother kind of thing, and like that came up a lot throughout the video, and it should have been just the once, like for people missing context, this is how Open Hand came about, cool, we get it. But it could
come off manipulative if you bring it up to the that comes off very manipulative.
Comment section reflected that as well. To answer the question you asked earlier, why you think, or why do we think potentially the Jobs video is a bit shit? It's because the Completionist is the top search term in YouTube at the moment in this industry. Like in this circle, I can tell you now, one of the most searched videos on our channel is the last one we did, because of the Completionist, Gerard, things like that. They clearly rushed the videos out, the rebuttals, quite quickly because they wanted to be in the cycle.
Carl's due diligence is usually really good. Yeah. And he's been involved in lawsuits with Billy the Gamer Mitchell.
I think I remember him saying that if he does try to slap him with a lawsuit, he would be willing to fight back. I remember him saying that.
Well, yeah. It's just that the end, like the start and the middle of the Completionist should have ended there. The last bit where he starts getting emotional, and there's it's manipulative language, but also I can understand getting heated because of the beginnings. The beginnings of this charity are very personal, right? They are very and I can completely understand. But then the end of that, the rebuttal videos, especially the Mudaha one, it was really bad. Sorry, Mudaha, it was. It's just gone YouTube drama, and it's like this is not moving anything forward. It's not.
No, it doesn't sound like it. And in regards to manipulative language, like one thing I want to mention is when you bring up saying something is manipulative, it might not have been intentionally trying to be manipulative what he was doing. So like in this,
he was emotional. Yeah,
he was emotional, and that's all I wanted to like point out, because I know a lot of people, because I did see the word manipulative being thrown around in regards to his video, and considering how personal this project is to him, and of course no one likes to admit that they fucked up. No, and I know his brother was in charge, it was or he put a lot of it on his brother, and no one wants to think that their brother screwed them over. You know, there's a lot of things that that are personal to him. So naturally, most people will be end up having a more emotional response. And unfortunately, as soon as you get emotions involved, you might unintentionally start utilizing manipulative language, even if the intent is not to be manipulative. You're just trying to explain your side. And what you were saying about bringing up the mother a lot, which understandably was the initial cause, or the reason for the cause. You have to start checking yourself. That's why we have you need to have take your time to organize your thoughts, write things down, and just stick to the point. Don't divert off, because that's what can happen is now because I was only listening to Carl's video and I heard him keep calling him manipulative, and it's and that might have not been his intention, but unfortunately now it's perceived as such.
And now that's coming across that Carl is being manipulative.
Right.
It's
just an endless cycle.
It's biased at this point as well.
Yeah. It's become
now it could be
mess.
even inferred that, or interpreted maybe now it's now that there's beef, it's now we're going to start delving into petty territory, which is usually what happens.
Yeah.
And it's
which was instigated by the end of the Completionist video, but the first video from Carl was really good. It was really good. And he does due diligence. He researches, he checks stuff out. He doesn't just say stuff. And then it turned into beef, and this is just not helping. And at least the money's gone. He has stepped away as CEO from Open Hand. He is removing, which people are saying that he's removing the Indie Land from the fundraising stuff because he wants to celebrate games to save his career. There might be a bit of truth in that. There might not. He might just want to distance them, but there might be some truth in that as well. Because his reputation is absolutely on the line now.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. Well,
I think he's... Sorry, go on.
Oh, no, go ahead.
I was going to say, I think in terms of trust, he has lost that trust, because at the end of the day, it was 10 years.
Oh, yeah.
And at the end of the day, would that money be donated if Muta and Drops didn't say anything?
You're right.
Probably not.
And one of the last times we talked about this, I brought up, I mentioned that one of the things you have to be really careful about is charities when it comes to handling charity donations. And I agree with you. We don't know if that donation would have been made if he hadn't been called out, if there hadn't been some sort of investigation, which doesn't make him look the best. And the fact that the money was sitting for so long has violated a lot of people's trust, even though the money went to where he claimed it, or he has donated it finally. Now in the future, if he ever wants to do anything when it comes to charity, everyone's going to question if whether or not the money is
he's
actually
a dirty spoon. That's going back in the sink.
And that's why I brought up when you start doing things with charity, it's really dicey if you're not completely upfront with everything. And everything has to be upfront. It's not just you're taking people's money, but you're taking people's money with their good faith and violating that when you don't follow through with those promises. And that's I understand what the personal drive was. I think that it kind of screwed the pooch a bit by creating the charity in the first place, because now it's screwed.
There's also another perspective that we've
I'm
not
glad
actually
the money
talked
got
about yet.
donated, by the way.
So obviously the money's been donated now, but there's one thing that I think Gerard has been somewhat downplaying, and that is, despite the fact that this money wasn't doing anything, they didn't monetarily benefit, he did benefit though. His brand benefited. He got to work with Jamie Lee Curtis. He's now friends with her, and he throws her name out every now and then. He's worked with creators across the space of varying sizes and things like that. His brand was getting a lot of recognition for being this charitable organization that had made and worked with X amount of a number of other charitable organizations, and then it turned out that it actually hadn't in almost every instance. And it's just that's one of the arguments being made, that he has perhaps done charity fraud, because whilst he hasn't benefited directly with money, he has benefited monetarily
By
off his
reputation.
branding and his reputation and things like that.
For sure.
So whilst, again, that may or may not have been malicious, that is a benefit that he has gotten out of this. And people are going to see that, and they're going to make the conclusion that it was malicious, and therefore don't trust him with any charity content moving forward. I don't think I would trust him moving forward with any charity-based content, because at the end of the year, at the end of the day, it took 10 years for this to get donated, and only because it got called out.
It's really good the representation of how how much of a double-edged sword charity work can be, because like while he benefited greatly from it, and you know, when he's homies with Jamie Lee Curtis, but if you screw it up at all, like
he actually had Jamie Lee Curtis on one of the Indie Land streams doing shit.
No, and that's
intent,
awesome.
Isn't it? What is the intent?
Yeah. And what was he telling her? Oh yeah, we're donating all this money to this charity. Would you want to help us out? Oh yeah, sure. And then she's tied into it, and she's like, "Motherfucker, what have you done?"
That's what
she gave open hand 20 grand
sword here, because now we're right. You don't know what he was telling her, and now it's like when things like this happen, it's not just you that you're dragging down your own brand. You're dragging down everyone else involved, and you have to be very careful with shit like this, where it's like. And because I've seen people like talking, you know, I can't remember if it was on Twitter or something, being upset by anyone who that didn't like the completionist response. They don't like the people that defended him, and it's like, and that's what always happens when it comes to like creator drama. But yeah, and unfortunately, you have people like Jamie Lee Curtis who's not at all involved in like any of this shit. She probably she probably doesn't care about any of this YouTube shit, but just by association, it's like now you caused her you probably caused her some stress, or anyone else who was involved. So it sucks, man. It's a shame that it had to end up this way.
Yeah, 100%. Let's move on though, because there's well, it is what it is. He's donated money. Huzzah. He might be a scumbag. We don't actually know. Hopefully not. Either way,
dial back the drama. Give us a fucking audit.
Yeah, and either way, we've learned that at worst or at best, he's remarkably incompetent. So it's the completionist before.
And maybe don't trust your brother, bro.
Yeah, and essentially that. E3 is officially dead. We kind of
I thought it was already officially dead.
Yeah, so they cancelled the show and cancelled
officially dead.
Yeah, so they cancelled the show.
Now it's real, for real, guys. It's official.
I'm telling you, shut up.
Final dot PDF.
Yeah, so in March they cancelled the digital show and the physical show, but they hadn't cancelled E3 existing as an organization. Whereas now they've officially said we're not doing any more E3s ever again, kind of thing. But yeah, we otherwise knew it was coming, so let's move on. Next
Brian,
one.
can you show the meme? Can you show the people the meme?
I haven't got it to hand, dude. Where is it? Is it still in?
I posted it to you, I think.
Was it to me directly?
Yeah, it's.
What? Talk in the meantime.
So is
it more about
dead?
Yes, it is.
I guess it's a shame. It's officially dead. Like for real this time.
It is a shame, but we knew it was coming. It did not suffer.
I could have sworn it was already dead.
Well, yeah, I mean, it was. The writing was on the wall.
They confirmed the shows were dead, but not the actual organization. So there was still hope that it would be back next year, for example.
Wishful thinking, probably more than anything, but
yeah, 100%. So when Repop were like, yeah, we're not gonna be back. Papa Jeff memeing on those E3s, but yeah, like,
oh god,
there were a lot of people upset about it because obviously it's their thing, but I think we've got something arguably better, to be honest. I would love to be able to attend like an in-person event, and maybe Summer Games Festival gradually adapt into that. Maybe they do have like a creator-based influencer thing there, but
I would like to see a show.
Yeah.
Stuff thrown together rather than because we got like, oh, you go here and watch this, and this.
Yeah.
It's still fun. It's still all these events and stuff, but it is 100% controlled by the people showing it to you.
Yeah.
So I do like a third party. I don't know who it could be.
Well, the thing is,
a third party could come in
I don't think Jeff
maybe?
could, because I think
No?
one of the problems is the people that are doing the events for the actual individual publishers, like Microsoft do their own, Sony do State of Play, Nintendo do Nintendo Direct, because they know it's cheaper. Why would they? Why would they go, oh, here you go, Jeff, here's a load of money,
And
so
they
you can advertise our shit that we were going to
They
advertise
completely
anyway.
control the narrative as well.
Exactly, yeah. So I think that's one of the reasons. Like, Jeff will try and make... I think that's one of the reasons he called it a festival, because he knew he wouldn't be able to get it compact into just a couple of days. But he is trying to influence the corporations to try and do it around about the same time, and then he does it under his umbrella. And then again, he gets the brand recognition. So even like whenever you get Microsoft or whatever do a show, people would say, "Oh, at E3," even though they're officially not at E3 and doing their own shows and stuff like that. So he's gonna be trying to claw his way into that kind of recognition. But at the end of the day, yeah, it's cheaper for them to not go with a third party, and they found that out that it's perfectly capable to do digital ones that get
Still
just
viable.
as much. Yeah. So
I also just don't really like Jeff Keighley. So.
really, you don't like Papa Jeff?
Pappy,
I'm not
Jeff,
kidding.
Pappy.
I love Papa Jeff. He always has
I
dope
do.
shoes as well.
He wears dope shoes. I'll give him that. I never liked him.
That's fair. That's
Even
fair.
back during his D4 days.
I never watched U4. Was it even over here, Peachy? Could we watch it on satellite or anything?
I don't think we could, because I would have definitely been watching that. We were in a drought. We had Games Master, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's all we pretty much had. The Last of Us factions, the multiplayer. Oh, there she is.
She's fallen again. No.
I
No,
turned
no.
away and then
No, my dog was coming over here, so I just figured like to at least sit her up here.
well, I turned away and then turned back to just see like you kind of duck away. So I thought you slid, like
No,
just fell out your chair or something.
No, I went to grab the dog. She walked up to me and I felt something boot my shoe, and I looked down and she was just staring at me for a while.
Oh,
So I figured I'd just bring her up here, so just until I could take her out after this.
That's fair. That's fair. But yeah, so
Sorry about that.
No, all good. The multiplayer for The Last of Us that originally was supposed to come with the second game or the remaster of the second remaster of the first game. There's many confusing
Like a
things.
new fucking game, I bet.
Yeah. Then they were like,
Forgot,
"Oh, we're gonna
dude,
make it a
this game.
separate game," but they've now cancelled it. They did a statement. The general statement is, "We realize that a live service or games as a service development is something that requires the entire studio, and we don't want to dedicate our entire studio to that because we're famous for making really good single player narrative games, and we want to continue doing that."
Wasn't
So,
it farmed to a different studio though?
I don't believe so. No.
Oh, okay.
It was originally supposed to be part of one of the newer gen versions of the game, and then they were like, "No, we're going to make it a separate game," because the multiplayer was quite light in the original The Last of Us. It wasn't like famous for having dope multiplayer, but people who played the multiplayer for some reason really enjoyed it. I think the same can be said about the other Naughty Dog games, Nathan Drake ones. Uncharted, sorry, yeah. So I think similar was said about those. Like the action combat was a bit kind of thing, but the actual like multiplayer aspect was fun. Either way,
It's better that I'm glad that they're not like choosing to pursue that, like, try and capitalize on something that's unnecessary.
I do wonder if it is just that, and they were like, "Oh no, we want to do like single player games because we like really good single player games," or if it was actually Sony going, "We fucked up. We put 12 live service games in our development cycle, and now it's all burning on fire. Cancel that one. Cancel
That
this
has
one."
to influence it.
Yeah,
It
like,
has to.
Everything's gone to hell.
Yeah.
We need help.
Because obviously Sony were going hard on the games as a service thing, and they literally had like 12 different projects going on at once, and they've cancelled at least a quarter of them, or have put them on hold in some way or form. So I wouldn't be surprised if they looked at it and was like, "You know what? No, we can't make a guarantee here." Whereas you do sell lots of copies of the single player stuff, so just stick to that. But I know some people were looking forward to it. I didn't give a fuck, but I know some people did. But that's unfortunately been cancelled. And last...
Oh no, a live service has been taken from us.
I don't hate all live services, because to be fair, I play Path of Exile and I love Path of Exile. I think they've solved the live service model like problem, as it were. And
Get the fuck out of my
How long
house.
were you playing Path of Exile when the new season came out? I had to, because I did ask I think I asked it, how many monsters?
How many? Great many. Like I've got over 1,200 hours
I know,
in it.
I know your cycle with that. How many? You'll drink so many of them.
Yeah,
So,
many. To be fair, I don't.
many a monster.
That's more for like events. Like the last time I did that was for Diablo 4 going live. I haven't done it since, kind of thing. But I have been playing a lot of the new league because it's a lot of fun. I think it's done well. It's just cosmetics and they pump
Oh
out
shit! I'm currently
tons
playing
of
a live
content.
service game.
What are you playing?
Darktide.
Yeah. 100%.
Oh, that's right. You are.
See, that's how they get you.
Just stick
By not-
Warhammer on it, and
I
I'm
like
in.
Darktide's a cool game.
It's just that, like,
I miss playing with my right hand.
bless you. The best live service games are the ones that don't market themselves as a live service game. Like no one calls Path of Exile a live service game, but that's what it is. It's like, and same for MMOs. Like people are cushy with MMOs, but they are effectively games as a service because it's just pumping out content and selling out.
I got Path of Exile being played right next to me too.
It do be good. It do be good.
It is intense.
It is extraordinarily so. But do you want to take the lead on this last one, Peachy?
Oh right, have you got the documentation?
I can get it if you want to give people the gist of what the game is.
Well, I didn't fully understand it. So Silent Hill.
Oh my
Ascension.
god. Oh my god. This one.
So this is the game. I might be wrong, so please correct me if I am. But this is the game that is made by the community, right? Your choices matter.
Peachy, I downloaded this game and I uninstalled it in like a week.
Right.
It's it is the community based game. It's the live streaming one.
Right. Okay.
Yes.
So they uploaded I thought it was a trailer for a game until I learned what it was. It was the next part of the story, I guess.
Yeah.
And it was quite possibly the worst thing I've ever seen. It was just
so
bad. Like animations, terrible visuals. Like it's not even live rendering.
Do you know
make it look good
too? Think about this, Peachy. They're demanding you for months to tune in every day at the same time to watch this just so you can engage with it.
Yeah.
Does that sound fun?
It is a I love the internet moment because they posted that on X. They posted it on Twitter. And you can scroll down and read people's comments. If you didn't know, people can comment under your thing. And I checked this out on stream. I checked the tweet out on stream, and I was scrolling for about 10 minutes, maybe more. I had to play 2 songs from my sample list to get through them all. It is just one gif of Grandpa Simpson falling asleep because it is the most boring thing you've ever seen in your life.
I have not stopped scrolling.
You can just scroll. I was like, oh, I'm going to do a bit with this because I know what's coming. I know the punchline already.
So funny. I didn't know that they did this.
I'm like, oh, that's it. And then I noticed I could scroll more. So I scrolled more. I had to play like 2 or 3 songs to get through the entire thing.
Oh my God.
Everyone is posting the same GIF. And it is the funniest thing I've seen in so long.
And even
it's
then,
bad, dude.
The GIFs that aren't the same are just variations of that GIF.
It's so funny. I played this thing like a little bit because like I remember someone in my chat was telling me about the game. And I was like, how the fuck is this gonna work? It's so bad. It's like, I mean, first off, there's a battle pass. There's a founder's pack, and and it's mostly like they have like all these stickers. I didn't get far enough to come across the "It's Trauma" mode. Photographer, thank you. Sent it to me, and I was like, I didn't even recognize it. That's how little I stuck around for this travesty of a project. And the whole thing was like I uninstalled it because I went going back to watch all the old stuff. I'm like, I don't understand. I have to schedule my life around this. Not just for like like once a week or something, which is fine. It's like it was like a daily thing or something. And No, and also the fact that there's like
No.
all this current and it's still a mobile game at the end of the day. And I understand like having these like all like the cosmetics and the emotes and stuff. They have to make their money somewhere because it's free. But it's like the whole point is like not even the developers know what's going to happen. That's awesome.
Yeah, we can tell by watching any clip from it.
Yeah, and also, but think about it, like there's the concept of whales in mobile games where people, and it's like, first off, if you're whaling Silent Hill Ascension, I have so many questions about your life. But like,
it's your disposable income.
But think about it, like they have this like certain currency within the game that you can purchase with cash money. So if you want to be like, I want this person to die, and you have that one whale who's like, no. Like, it's going to completely offset this voting cost.
Are you saying it's pay to fucking win?
Yeah, there's pay to win in that shit, dude. It's community. It's
Silent Hill is pay to fucking win. Because that's what this is.
It literally is. And what I'm kind of worried about is
this why Hideo announced OD?
I don't know if it was this year specifically that. Oh, I always forget that Dead Space came out this year. We had Dead Space come back out. Come back around. We had Resident Evil 4, which I mean, Resident Evil's been pretty, popping for a while, but like you had Resident Evil 4 come out. We had the big reveal of like all the Silent Hill projects that are coming out, and that has me very worried because Konami, I forgot what video I was watching about this, and they were breaking down numbers about how like Silent Hill has never been like a money maker for like Konami. I think the first game was the one that did the best.
Because they gave the developers freedom, and some of those developers were like, I'm gonna make my own freedom.
Yeah, and Silent Hill 1 did the best in Japan, and then Silent Hill 2 didn't do that well in Japan, but it did well here. But when it comes to like profit margins, this isn't a moneymaker for them. So if something like this, like they haven't had a Silent Hill game come out in a while, and they just announced the big remake for Silent Hill 2, which I got my issues with Bluebird, but I have some high hopes for it. And then they had another game that they revealed that looked pretty neat, and there's also the movie. But if this is the start, woof.
Yeah.
Bless your girlfriend, woof. That is so bad. It's just.
Is this what the OD is?
No.
Is this going to
We
be
hear nothing, and I'm like, is this the same thing?
No, it's not going to be Twitch plays Silent Hill. Twitch plays Hideo.
Yeah, I'm so glad you brought this up because I did want to talk about this. It's bad. It's very. I will. Have you guys seen the cosmetics? How like the characters, like your character. And you can actually get a cameo in it. Your ugly ass character can be a cameo in there.
Does it cost money?
Yeah, of course.
It costs money, I'm sure.
Has anyone done it yet?
It can only go up. I guess so. Yeah, that's a good point. It can only go up from here. But this is their intro because it's this compared to Dead Space and Resident Evil 4 coming out this year. It's like, this is what you got? Jeez. Buzz your girlfriend, woof.
I still got hopes for the other two.
I have high hopes. I really do especially because like Masahiro Ito and Akira Yamaoka are back for the Silent Hill 2 remake, so I'm really hoping they kind of keep that on rails at least a little bit because this was bad.
We'll see. Was there any other news that you two wish to discuss before we do shout?
Yes.
Go on.
Warhammer 40k Rogue Trader. It's not because it's Warhammer. It's just it is.
Sorry. Continue.
Zeus is like Warhammer.
It is so goddamn good, and I kind of thought it was just being slept on by people. It was outselling Baldur's Gate 3. The gameplay is phenomenal. It is so good. It is so much fun to play. And the writing, I keep forgetting. I need to check who's written this because it is written so well. It not only gets Warhammer, it invents the way Warhammer does. And it's so, like, it's poetry. It's not written like, RPGs that kind of just, here's a bit here you go. Like every single piece of just random lore you pick up, you read a thing. It is just so well written, and the gameplay is dope. It looks, like it cost $5, but it's really good. If you have an interest at all in CRPGs, like you played Baldur's Gate and you're like, I quite like these mechanics, this is brilliant. And it's also approachable for people who might not understand, because it's based on the Rogue Trader rule set. It, like, when you're leveling up your character, all they do is things that will be good for your character. They just put a little thumbs up there on the skill, and you can choose that and you won't go wrong. But you can scroll down every single skill. You can get granular as fuck with it. And I think I've made a broken party by complete accident, because I defeated a word bearer. A word bearer went ha and shot everyone, did so much damage, and then I killed his ass first try because I'm a gamer.
Gamer. Yeah.
It's just really good. Don't sleep on it. You don't need a Warhammer knowledge for it because it's based on Rogue Trader. It eases you in. But there's plenty there for Warhammer fans. It's just really good, and I just kind of wanted to make people buy it. I stopped streaming it because it just died down a bit on stream, so I just binged it for ages. It's just good. It's good. Buy it.
I love that. That's awesome.
Anything else that you wanted to touch on, Paul?
No, I mean, I saw that.
I'll take it. So Warhammer for 40 years has been.
I saw what was it the other day? Because I was on Steam and I saw that Ever Crisis came out on Steam. The Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis was released on there. I tried downloading because I got it on my phone and I can't get into it whatsoever. It's just so, the UI is so ugly. And it's very funny to see the reviews on that. It's just like primarily just people complaining about all the microtransactions. I played this thing. And, because of I am going to play the Rebirth. Woof. Is this the way this thing is set up is so bad. It didn't work on my PC like at all. I couldn't even get it's god awful. So if you're interested in Ever Crisis, please, for the love of God, just get it on your phone if you really are. And it is a pain in the ever loving ass to get through if you just are going for the new content. It's the way they structured it is a choice of like telling you can go to this there's Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core and then the new content, and they're like, you have to play to this chapter, but you gotta stop, then go to the next one. You can go to Crisis Core, but you gotta stop at chapter 3.
Is it habit building? So you go back and do it again?
Oh yeah, and it's very annoying, and like the fact that they introduced I hate the game so much. If anyone was curious and they saw it on Steam because they did promote it, it's a yikes.
Recommend to listeners and viewers at home is, if you are interested in Ever Crisis because of the additional lore that it adds to the Final Fantasy universe, YouTube it. Apparently the additional lore is actually really, really, really good, and there's some like really insightful shit.
That's why I downloaded it, because I was curious.
Yeah.
That's why I downloaded it, because I'm not a really big Sephiroth fan. I'm like in the minority, do not like the character that much. But it's like I learned my lesson after Kingdom Hearts 3 with a mobile game apparently was the most important one. So I figured I'd check it out. And but the game itself is just such a slog to get through. Honest to God, I'm just like, to spare yourself the frustration, don't download on Steam, because it works like garbage on Steam. At least for me, it did. Just YouTube it. I agree with Brian.
Cool.
There's some cool stuff.
Let's do shout outs then, Paul.
Hi, I'm Paul Fictionally. I'm a former Instagram model turned variety streamer, and you can find me on all my social media under Paul Fictionally, except for Twitter, where someone stole my name. I will not be streaming later tonight, but I will be back tomorrow, probably playing more of The Wolf Among Us, or I've been tempted to do with my husband. We got Lethal. I've been wanting to play Lethal Company since it came out, but my arm broke, so I might do it tandem, which would be very interesting. Yeah. We're gonna test this marriage.
That's going to be interesting.
Hi, my name is Peachy Pixelway. You can follow me on Twitter, Twitch. Currently on a Warhammer kick, which is surprising, right?
Shocking,
right? Instagram, I got my painting on there. There's probably a link to my YouTube down there. There might be some Warhammer content coming on there soon too. Brian, what have you been playing?
Path of Exile. Lots and lots of Path of Exile. But yes, my name is Brian the Pirate. Thank you all for watching today. And thank you to, of course, my co-hosts for being fantastic as always. If you are not familiar with me, you can find me on all social media under Brian the Pirate on literally everything that exists ever. Even Billy maybe. What I'd also recommend you do is follow the Twitter for the Fully Rendered Podcast. That's at Fully
And the
Rendered
YouTube.
TV. Go check out the YouTube and check out the Patreon. It's all a good place to hang out, and there's lots of special stuff, particularly the Patreon. You'll be able to ask us Q&A questions that we can answer on stream, and many other benefits to glean from that. But that's going to be it from the three of us today. Thank you all very much for watching. Farewell. We'll remember you.
I won't.
Bye.
Bye.